Welcome to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. As we kick off another week here at Belmont Park. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Good to have you here with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Greg Wolf, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling, as we get set to bring you the entire card here on this Wednesday afternoon. And we have 2-year-old fillies in the Joseph A. Jimma. That is our feature race coming up later. And that rematch, third time that two of these fillies have met we saw go head-to-head at Saratoga.
I agree, and Time Limit actually showed when he gets out or she gets out of the gate, she can be effective. Now, Fierce Lady was compromised dramatically at the start, yet she still was able to win the race and bounce back off her loss before that. She's the one to beat, but there's a new shooter in here as well, Greg.
Yes, there is. That would be Irish Dancing. Christophe Clement, she was sensational first time out. We'll get to that race a little bit later on. That's our feature. But we start off with a steeplechase race here, the William Entenmann Memorial Hurdle. 2 miles and a quarter over the jumps here. And a very heavy favorite. Big change in this race with Teodoro coming out. So now snap decision. Won by 38.5 lengths. Last start on the outside, the one to beat.
It's a little deceptive, though. And keep in mind, for people watching at home, these races do not start from a gate. They start from the tape. So you won't see the horses be loaded into a gate. Snap decision, 4 of the 8 did not finish the course that day. And I think it might have exaggerated performance. And this is a much tougher field. The pick 5 starts here, Greg. I used 178. Maybe I'm a fool, but I'm trying to beat the favorite.
Well,
and apparently trying to beat him with 2 horses that are long shots.
The 2 Sportswear beat Teodoro, who would have probably been, what, 3 to 5 in here?
Would have been close. Would have been short. But here's one for you. Cracker Factory, the 7, easily beat the 1 Chief Justice, who came out of a tough race last time out at Percy Warner with a tough trip. I think the race is being misbet, Greg.
And it's part of the early pick 5. Usually it's all flat races, but this will be included.
Well, with the 8-race card, if you made the second race, the pick 4 is the third, and the Empire 6 starts in the pick 3rd, and sometimes you got to deal with the hands you were dealt. That's horse racing.
Larry Colmus with the call. Kick things off here over the jumps on this Wednesday afternoon from Belmont Park.
Field getting set and lined up for the start of the William Entenmann Memorial. The flag is up. They're off in the William Entenmann Memorial, and it will be Arch My Boy to go out to the early lead as the field heads toward the backstretch. In front by 2.5 lengths over Cracker Factory, who will be second early on, and they're being followed by Chief Justice in third as they hook up with the backstretch. They're going very slowly here. Sportswear is fourth at this stage and 4.5 lengths off the lead. And then it's City Dreamer right behind them, followed by Veneer of Charm, and Snap Decision is last in the early stages here as they approach this first of 9 fences. And up and over they go, led by Arch My Boy, who's out there on a 3-length lead. And then it's Cracker Factory, Chief Justice on the inside, second and third. Sportswear follows in fourth, backing off 6 lengths from the front over the second jump. And making a bit of a mistake there was City Dreamer, who is right behind that group. Snap Decision, the heavy favorite, is alongside of Veneer of Charm and very unhurried here as they approach fence number 3, where they all clear well, led by Arch My Boy, who will head for the turn with the lead here by 2.5 lengths. Cracker Factory making his U.S. debut is second on the outside, and then Chief Justice in third. Sportswear is fourth and 7 lengths behind with a long way to go. Then it's City Dreamer. Snap Decision is about 8 lengths behind at this stage. And then comes Veneer of Charm as they make their way around this sweeping turn here at Belmont Park and into the stretch for the first time of the William Entenmann Memorial, led by Arch My Boy, who will come into the stretch with a 2-length advantage here. Cracker Factory on the outside follows in second position. And then it's Chief Justice. Now Snap Decision's gone by a few and moves up into contention on the outside, up into fourth now. And then it's Sportswear, followed by City Dreamer as they go over this next fence. And at the rear of the field now is Veneer of Charm. So they head to fence number 6 with a lap to go. And it is Arch My Boy and Kieran Norris, joined by Sportswear and Gerard Galligan, and now they're stride for stride on the lead. These two will go over the next jump right together. They all clear well there. It's another 3-length gap back to Cracker Factory. Then Chief Justice, and drafting in behind them is Snap Decision. The favorite at odds of 1-2 here is racing about 6 lengths off the lead at this stage of the race. And then it's back to City Dreamer and Veneer of Charm. So they make their way around the clubhouse turn, and they will have 3 backstretch fences to go in this race. And it is Sportswear who takes charge now and opens up by 3.5 lengths over Arch My Boy. Cracker Factory and Chief Justice 3rd and 4th entering the backstretch. Snap Decisions going along there in 5th, just clear of City Dreamer. And at the rear of the field, Veneer of Charm. So now the backstretch fences can begin here. And they all go over there well, led by Sportswear, who with 2 fences remaining leads it by 2. And here comes Arch My Boy to get closer once again on the inside. Meanwhile, Snap Decisions back there running in 5th. Hasn't made an impact yet. So 1 fence to go. Sportswear over Arch My Boy. 2.5 lengths back to Cracker Factory, Chief Justice, Snap Decisions on their outside. And then it's City Dreamer and Veneer of Charm. And here comes Snap Decision now. Snap Decision just went from 5th to 2nd just like that, and it's a flat run from here as they make their way around the far turn. Sportswear the leader. Snap Decision, who won by 38 lengths last time, now takes over the lead on the far turn. It is now Snap Decision who opens up the lead by 2 as Arch My Boy grabs 2nd, and then it's Chief Justice on the outside who's into 3rd position, and Sportswear is 4th. They're into the stretch, and they'll come inside these jumps here with Snap Decision out there on a 2-length lead, trying to bear in a little bit there in 2nd. Arch My Boy beginning to make a race of it on the outside. Snap Decision by 2. Arch My Boy trying to get closer late as they come down to the wire, but Snap Decision and William McCarthy are going to do it in the William Entenman Memorial. They won it by 2 over Arch My Boy. And then it was Chief Justice and City Dreamer in 4:17.37 seconds.
Snap Decision wins for the 3rd time in 5 tries over the jumps for a trainer that has won a lot of these races over his career, Jack Fisher.
It felt like they let him run for about a 16th of a mile, right? He just sort of sat in 5th, then he ran back, and you and I were trying to figure out the horse who had been in the lead, every time he took a jump, he took a left-hand turn. Kind of weird, right?
Yeah, it was bizarre. 1-2 favorite, Snap Decision, William McCarthy. Jack Fisher, son of Hard Spun, out of an Unbridled Mare. Getting the best of this bunch pretty convincingly here in formful beginning to our card and to the pick 5. 8-3-1-6 finish, as you can see. High fives all around.
I used 3 to get alive, but I am alive. I just sweat it out. I didn't use Arch My Boy.
Let's bring you track conditions for this afternoon as we kick off another week of action, our first flat race coming up in just a moment. Weather and track presented by Piranha Fly Spray. As always, preferred fly spray of Saratoga Racecourse, Piranha on Pescon, main track fast, turf course firm. We have a little bit of a breeze this afternoon, but beautiful weather, blue skies. And we're bringing you the entire card, as mentioned here this afternoon in our feature, 2-year-old fillies in that Joseph A. Jimma. And we'll see if Irish Dancing can take that next step for Christophe Clement after she was so impressive in that debut at Saratoga.
I agree. I mean, listen, it's not an easy field. Fierce Lady is very good, but I agree, Greg. I thought she was really impressive.
Get signed up, get started, play along with NYRA Bets. Bet $200. You'll get a $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NYRABets.com or download the NYRA Bets app. Play along with us all fall meet long here at Belmont and into the Breeders' Cup and beyond.
Okay.
Which is, by the way, not that far off.
I know.
It's
amazing.
right around the corner.
Well, all the final preps are coming up the next 2 to 3 weeks, right? 2 weeks, really.
Yeah.
10 days. Yeah, I'm excited.
And then, how much more work? Is that the busiest time of the year for you?
Well, I mean, it's fun, right? You
Yeah.
like looking at the races, and I think they're
One
not...
race can take you days.
Yeah, well, except we're so familiar with the horses. I find that
true.
most of the time I spend is on the Euros that I'm not familiar with because you want to look them up. But the Breeders' Cup is always a fun time. And I find the fall's a really good time, too. We start seeing a lot more 2-year-olds showing up. And in past years, a lot of the best 2-year-olds seem to show up in November at Aqueduct, and we have that great record where 8 Grade 1 winners, including Kentucky Derby winner Orb, broke their maidens on Cigar Mile Day.
Really?
Yeah, Quality Road broke his maiden Cigar Mile Day.
Interesting.
Data Point, Data Link,
Okay.
standing at Claiborne Farm. Annals of Time, a lot of really good horses did.
Best bet for today, where are you going to go?
Now I have to remember who my best bet was. My best bet is race number 5, Quiet Out East. Quiet Out East, I know that Christophe Clement seemed to want to go to the dirt with this horse, but I think he was a little bit hasty. The turf race in 1 1/8, the last time this horse ran the turf, 4 back, is a race that's a lot better, in my opinion, than it looks on paper. First of all, I think 1 1/8 is a stretch for this filly. I think, this gelding. I think he wants to go less. The mile today may help him. But also, that race was run in a driving rainstorm, and he ended up making a premature move, a wide premature move. He lost a horse that saved all the ground and was fortunate to beat him. And the speed figure of 66 might have been a little light in retrospect, considering who was in the race. So I think that he might just be a little bit better than the horses coming out of the Wayne's Footsteps race.
That is a wide open race. If you can be right in that race, you have a chance to do some damage in that late pick 5.
Well, I mean, right. It's because of the jump race, the early pick 5 started in race 1, so we'll have the 2 races overlapping in races 4 and 5 of the late pick 5.
All right, that's coming up later on this afternoon, the 5th, where Andy's best bet comes from, mile on the turf and that New York bred maiden special weight. Here in the winner's circle, picture time for Snap Decision. Jack Fisher, William McCarthy, and Bruton Street at odds on. $3.10 for the win. Arch, my boy, runs second, and here Chief Justice. Big long shot there in third. 8-3-1-6 finish. We are going to take a break of the action. We'll have a maiden claiming race coming up next, and we'll talk about the Penn Derby ahead. Improbable back for Bob Baffert, and with a late change in this race and a big defection, likely your favorite this weekend. We'll be right back.
You know, I think Run Happy has a lot of things going for him. Obviously, he's been very respected, and to give people further incentive to buy them for where they can take an offspring, run it, and if they win, they're going to get a $100,000 bonus for each Run Happy they have. You know, it's another selling point from our perspective that really helps us promote the horses that we're representing and we're selling.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Eclipse champion Blaine was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault, and graded stakes winners Moreau, Beyond Blaine, Miss Kentucky, and Blaine. This year, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $700,000. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the races here on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Huge race to the 3-year-old division. Coming up this weekend in the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby, and now a major defection as well, as the horse who crossed the wire first got DQ'd, that historic DQ in the Kentucky Derby. Maximum Security would come back to win the Haskell, will not run now in the Pennsylvania Derby, and it looks like that rematch we're going to get between him and the horse he impeded the most of anyone in that Derby. War of Will may never materialize. Dealing with something that's known as a left dorsal displacement condition occurs when a portion of the horse's colon turns and becomes stuck over the ligament that connects the horse's left kidney and spleen. Apparently it's fairly common in thoroughbreds. He is fine. They sent him to an equine clinic and not career threatening in any way, but he's not going to run this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he's already back in his stall, and obviously the most important thing in all these cases, the horse is healthy and sound. And after that, you're sorry he's not racing. But since he's doing okay, that's good news. And it's a shame with this horse. They didn't run the Travers. Now this situation comes to Pennsylvania Derby. They're saying the Breeders' Cup is out. And you start to wonder, will we ever see him again? Though, don't you imagine next to want to try to get to the Pegasus at Gulfstream Park, where he ran so well last year?
Would love to see it.
Yeah.
We just hope to see him back, because when he's been on the racetrack, he's been sensational. He's such an intriguing story as well with everything that's happened with him. And at this point, he's still probably your leader in the division, right?
He is, but with Code of Honor coming up and these races coming up without a minute, he could become a footnote. And feel bad for the West with Game Winner being on the sideline as well.
So with him out, likely Improbable now is your favorite for Bob Baffert, who has done pretty well in this race. He's won 3 of the last 5 Penn Derbies.
When you say he's done pretty well this race, Greg, you could be talking about just about any major 3-year-old race that's been run in this country, right? You could just say, and he has done well in this race, and I think he won it last year with McKenzie, and of course Byron won it a few years ago. I'll tell you what, Greg, this was an impressive win. This is a 104 Beyer. I know he wasn't beating what he's facing in Saturday's race, but he runs back to that race. This field could be in trouble.
He was 3-5 in that comeback race. That was at Del Mar in the Shared Belief, his first since the Preakness. Put the blinkers back on, and he was more settled. You know, we knew he had some issues in the starting gate along that Triple Crown trail and in the Triple Crown as well. And Bob Baffert says he wants Mike Smith to be aggressive.
You imagine he is, and you have to imagine that he's going to go in here, and I suppose War of Will be probably sitting outside of him. I'm intrigued to see Mr. Money taking on some top echelon horses, though.
Well, Mr. Money has reeled off 4 consecutive wins. Started in the Pat Day Mile, the Matt Winn, Indiana Derby, and then the West Virginia Derby at 1 1/8 miles. 5 for 10 lifetime, and yeah, he seems like a horse who really is getting good right now.
He really is, and I understand his connections saw real payoffs. The Indiana Derby's a big purse, the West Virginia's a big purse, and they decided to sort of take those races where he was heavily favored for big money. And I'm not going to knock them for trying to make money. I'm glad to see, though, he's finally running in a big race.
Now, War of Will, your Preakness champ, Mark Casse said he just didn't handle the track at Belmont, in the Belmont Stakes. What excuse is there for the Jim Dandy?
Well, he was on the rail. I mean, I think a lot's been made of Tacitus in there, and everybody just sort of ignored what happened to War of Will. Well, Tyler took him right down to the rail when they hit the backstretch, and Irad kind of coaxed him in there, to be honest with you, who was riding another horse. I can't remember now who. I feel like it was Irad Ortiz, but it was a long time ago, Craig. And I'm going to use it as a real excuse, and I think War of Will's going to run well in here.
Well, Mark Casse said, look, obviously one of the major players is not in the race now, and that helps all these other connections. But Mark Casse says for War of Will, it might actually hurt him because War of Will might be better sitting, stalking, and not having to be in the lead. And now he might have to change the way he runs in this race.
Well, if Baffert's going to tell Mike Smith to go with Improbable, it makes it same thing for him, right? He's outside of him. Let Improbable go and stalk him on the outside. I think War of Will's going to run big in this race.
But now Improbable might be loose, no?
And he might be too good. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think War of Will's going to outrun his odds. How's that?
Okay, we'll see. He was so talented. Got that revenge in the Preakness after being impeded with, as we check in now with Maggie Wolfendale for the first time this afternoon. And of course, it's not just about these runners. There's a new shooter who did some big things at Saratoga everyone's got to watch out for as well.
Well, and 2, Greg, he was the horse who was put up to 2nd in the Kentucky Derby Code of Honor. So, yeah, he's also your Travers winner to boot, as he's looking to secure himself that spot as the top 3-year-old in the country, going a little bit of a different route as opposed to the horses taking the PA Derby line. He's going to try older horses in the Jockey Club Gold Cup as well as Tacitus. Now, we're going to check out his last work, which was here this Sunday for Shug McGahee and his regular exercise rider, Lexi Padon, up in the irons. And you can tell she has a stout restraint on this horse for like the first quarter mile. And then she opens her hands a bit, and he accelerates quite nicely, especially after the wire, where I think he gallops out in about 12 seconds. So rounding out that work in 5 furlongs and 102 and 4. Also, I like the way that he he did that gallop out as 2. He really kind of accelerated after the wire, which bodes well for the longer distances if he is to try the Breeders' Cup Classic. And let's face it, if he would win the Breeders' Cup Classic, he would be a shoo-in as top 3-year-old and get the Eclipse Award. As also Tacitus, he's been a bit of a hard luck horse throughout this season as well. A lot of people in his bandwagon. He'll try the older horses as well with Code of Honor. He had a really nice workout as well on Sunday at Saratoga, in which he used Channel Maker as a target for Bill Mott, and he easily went by that horse, working in 48 and change and galloping out in just over a minute. So both of these horses look to be on track for this Jockey Club Gold Cup. Looking forward to seeing them against some older horses. Well, we have 2-year-olds in the paddock for today's second race, and we'll start by talking about a horse who is trying the dirt for the first time, and that's number 2, Katama Bay, which I'm actually very familiar with this pedigree, as my husband trained this one's dam, Katama, and she was a turf sprinter. She was an out-and-out turf sprinter. She was by Medaglia d'Oro. This one, though, by Flatter. So there's a little bit more of a dirt influence with that respect. He comes in here. He's a lot more fit at second asking for trainer Brad Cox, and he's a little bit more focused. He was sharp in his debut, and while he's sharp here again, it's just that more contained energy that you like to see. Now, I thought at first asking he did look more turf meant. I think he'll be able to handle the main track. It's the distance I have a problem with. The 7 furlongs just doesn't look as though it's going to suit him. He's small, he's very compact, very short-backed. I think he gets a little distance challenge as number 5 in here, who I'll talk about next. Live Your Beast Life has been incredibly green, just really acting up from the word go, is wearing blinkers first time out here, just not really behaving himself very well whatsoever. It's a good-looking horse. They paid $200,000 for him after just galloping, and I timed that gallop in that Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream sale and about 11 and 2 for that 1/8 of a mile. Nice stride to him. He just doesn't seem mentally prepared, to be honest. Looks like there's probably some potential with him, but then again, he's in for the 62.5 first time out here. So 7 furlongs with him, from a physical perspective, looks fine because he is actually pretty big and rangy. It's just, I'm going to take the wait-and-see approach to see how he handles himself out on the racetrack, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Yeah, not a great sign what we're seeing here first time out from Live Your Beast Life, 6-1. Meanwhile, Blue City, he has experience making start number 3. Can he get the 7 furlongs for Linda Rice? We'll talk more about it. There's Linda. Post parade coming up from race 2, the start of the early pick 4, when we return on America's Day at the Races.
Our win program. It was a big day.
By your side in the Sanford.
That's the finest breeding program in Central Kentucky.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. AmericasBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify!
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day.
With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, it's brought to you in part by Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, did it all while racing medication-free, and now stands at Claiborne Farm for $25,000. Win next summer. Saratoga with a Run Happy in a non-restricted maiden special weight. There's a $100,000 bonus on the line. I really can't wait to see those races next summer at Saratoga.
Be interesting. Certainly people are going to do their best to get their Run Happies to Saratoga.
And we're going to have live coverage, of course. As we get set for our post-parade coming up here in race 2, it's 7 furlongs, $62,000 maiden claiming event. We will start with Blues City. Linda Rice, 2-1 right now with Jose Lezcano aboard.
Was very green last time, first time for Linda Rice, and probably would have won if she wasn't lugging, or he wasn't lugging in so badly. Does, though, come out of a race that the pace completely fell apart.
Katama Bay drops in class. Now the debut, it came on turf at Saratoga for Brad Cox. It's the son of Flatter Maggie was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Flatter's dirt, the dam is turf. Brad Cox has very good numbers, though, going turf to dirt, second time starting 2-year-old maidens.
Mr. Phil, this is start number 3 for the barn of Jimmy Ryerson.
Finished 5th in the one dirt race in what was not a particularly strong maiden special weight for New York breds.
We will skip over the 4 and 5. Go to the 6 here. John Want Revenge, son of I Want Revenge for Randy Prasad.
What does he want revenge for? It's his first start, Craig.
I'm not sure. Maybe being disrespected at the window at 23-1?
That could be. That's it. And they knew.
Tipazzo, Mitchell Friedman, son of Macho Uno.
This horse just did no running whatsoever in a pretty subpar maiden race first time out, but a second time starter maybe could improve.
Oh, Bushido at 6-1. It's Gary Contessa, claimed off of Todd Pletcher for start number 2.
Did slightly more running than Tipazzo, but as you say, claim from Todd Pletcher first time out. Must have
favored.
Proved. I guess there was nobody to bet, and it was Todd Pletcher. Remember the winner, that Wayne Lucas horse that paid about 23 to 1?
Feeling it, yeah.
Absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
He was feeling it that day, though.
Here's Live Your Beast Life. This is the horse who was being a bit of a bad actor in the paddock.
Yeah, I think we'll expand on this a little bit after the post parade, but some question marks with this one. An expensive and well-bred firster with a big pedigree.
And 9th of April rounds things out here for Edmund Davis. This is start number 4. Has not done much running. Showed a little brief speed last start.
Yeah, it was a sloppy track last time out, so perhaps this horse getting back to a dry track for only the second time in 4 starts.
So that's your group here as we get set for a race that kicks off the early pick 4. Again, 7 furlongs, $62,000 maiden claiming group. And that one right there, this was our morning line favorite, Blues City, making start number 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll show the replay of his last race, but if you can see him, you'll see that he's lugging in badly for the rider, and this is not Jose Lezcano's fault. In fact, Jose did a very good job. Tries to get on the outside. He's hitting him left-handed, and the horse is saying, I have no interest in getting out there, and he keeps lugging in, and he's right behind the eventual winner. Now, he benefited from a pace that was collapsing, but he certainly didn't do Jose any favors. And one thing I'll say, he obviously seems to be a horse that wants to lug in. Well, drawing the rail may help him, right? Because he's already right down the rail, which apparently seems to be the place he wants to be. So sometimes when a lug-in horse draws the rail, it helps his chances. And he's obviously very dangerous in here.
And he looked willing to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The race was falling apart. It wasn't a good field, but you look at this race, and you've got Blue City, you've got Katama Bay, the presumption being he'll run better, and the 2 Katama Bay figures to be the speed today. I wouldn't mind sort of expounding a little bit on Live Your Beast Life. This horse cost $200,000, and Maggie pointed out she hand-timed it because essentially the workout was just a gallop. This horse is a very big pedigree, Time and Motion. Now, there are some good dirt horses in the family, but Time and Motion was a very good turf horse. And you remember a few years ago, Be Catch a Glimpse, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf Race. It seems like the Phillips Race Partnership sells the colts. They keep the fillies and they sell the colts. But to sell this horse $200,000, and also Bill Lawrence, who owns this horse, was the partner with Klarovich, and they've separated. He has his own. Mostly his horse with Chad Brown. And I see this horse with Jorge Abreu, who's Chad's ex-assistant. It makes me think that Chad Brown may have had this horse once and transferred to Jorge Abreu, which probably isn't a particularly good sign.
5-1 as he gets set to make his debut. Manny Franco will be aboard. Let's go downstairs, check in again trackside with Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, guys, and we'll take a look at number 1. That's Blue City for trainer Linda Rice. And while I'm not totally convinced about the 7 furlongs, he's a little bit more convincing than, let's say, his next door neighbor as far as the the starting gate is concerned, than Katama Bay. But Blue City, a little bit of a longer back, but still very much built downhill. So there's nothing really that says much distance would be desired by this guy. I like him because he keeps getting more fit with each start, and he's been really professional. And maybe of the shorter priced horses, as Katama Bay, like I said, physically he looks tremendous. I just have a big, big question mark with the 7 furlongs, especially on this surface. He feels like the most reliable in regards to number 1, Blue City. Number 8 is O Bushido, who will go first off the claim. And while this horse was far more mature, acting in the paddock and out on the racetrack, I still didn't love the way he necessarily moved out here. Jockey Irad Ortiz took him away from the pony, and he just feels like a horse that takes a while to warm up. And kind of, he was cross-cantering, which means in front, they're on one lead, and behind, they're on the other lead. So it just kind of speaks to a horse that's a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm just not convinced with him either. So maybe take a shot with a big, long price in here. And number 4, 9th of April, he is a first-time gelding. Always love that. He has the most seasoning of any horse in here, with now making his 4th start of his career. Tried an open maiden special weight last time in an off-the-turf event, so now he's back in kind of similar company as what he ran in his first 2 starts in those restricted races, but he just feels like a horse that 7 furlongs is ideal. Now he gets to do it on a fast track, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. You know, maybe the 7 furlongs, Andy, we're going to see some horses wilting late and something crazy happens.
Maybe, listen, I'm not going to, unless the 2, Katama Bay, who figures to be the inside speed, just runs off and wins by 8, the buyer figure rates to be in the 50s, so anything could be possible, I suppose.
Well, let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus with the 2nd from Belmont Park.
9th of April about to move into the starting gate here. Will be the 2nd last one to go in, and O Bushido will complete the line. They're all in line. They're off, and nearly losing the rider at the start was 9th of April, who just had a disastrous beginning there and has been left well behind the field. Katama Bay is going to the front with Blue City. It's these 2 out to lead them early. Tipazo came out running in 3rd, a length and a half behind them. Then O Bushido, followed by Mr. Phil 5th on the inside. Live Your Beast Life is racing 7 lengths off the lead, 5 lengths clear of John Want Revenge. And 9th of April, who lost all chance at the start of the race, has been left behind to trail the field and is about 20 lengths behind. A 22.75 first quarter mile for Blues City and Katama Bay pokes a neck in front. Trying to edge away now on the turn is Katama Bay from Blue City. Then O Bushido in 3rd, 2.5 behind them, as Mr. Phil gets going on the outside from 4th. After that, it's Live Your Beast Life. Tipazo is dropped back on the inside, and the others are well behind as 9th of April has passed John Want Revenge. So they make their way toward the top of the stretch. Katama Bay the leader. Mr. Phil a length and a half behind as they turn for home. Blue City cuts the corner in 3rd. Live Your Beast Life coming up on their outside too as they come down to the 8th pole. It is now Mr. Phil on the outside of Katama Bay, and Live Your Beast Life continues to come up to their outside and now takes the lead. And it's Live Your Beast Life and Manny Franco to the front and pulling away to victory. Coming under the wire, winning it by about 4 or 5 in the end here over Mr. Phil. Katama Bay was 3rd and Blue City was 4th.
First time out, son of Ghost Sapper for Jorge Abreu. Was not acting all that great. The paddock ran a lot better on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, you could see him making that move in the turn and absolutely just crushed this field. Obviously had some pedigree and got it done. Probably didn't get claimed for 62.5, and I'm not sure he went a great buy for 62.5, but he ran pretty well here. I mean, considering the quality of the field, I know the track's been pretty quick, but he made a big wide move. 124 and 3/5 is not a bad time. Won by about 3 or 4, Greg. Won easy, right?
Won extremely convincingly against just about everybody else in this field. Had experience.
Yeah, no, he was a FASA winner. He took no money at 6 to 1. And, he did not run to the fact that he took no money.
So this is going to help out if you had this one, certainly in your pick 5, pick 4s.
I'm alive in the pick 5. Unfortunately, I used 3 horses to get alive the 1 to 2 in the first leg.
And maybe especially even more so in the pick 4, because I think people may have had the opportunity to see this horse acting up in the paddock, may have passed.
Didn't get bet at all, never took a nickel. Yeah.
6 to 1, and let's take a look at the start for the 4. Oof, no shot at all out of the gate.
Yeah, he just kind of jumped up, and the rider kind of lost his balance on the horse, right?
How did Keenan Harkey stay on there?
Bucked him at the start of the race. And
these guys are so good.
The stewards
at what
will probably
they do.
Yeah. Well, you know, the gate, I have such respect for them, and Manny Franco, another win for him. The gate has got to be it's a tough spot to be in.
5-3-2 finish. Live your beast life. First time out. Wins at 6 to 1 here to start off the early pick 4 prices. And we'll set up the third for you when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
Practical Joke was all business. He won the home.
Practical Joke always showed a lot of ability. He showed a lot of heart, a lot of determination. Right from the first breeze, he identified himself as one of the best in his crop.
Practical Joke down to the wire, the Champagne.
Practical Joke took both the Hopeful and the Champagne Stakes. And he's a fast, tough, precocious 2-year-old, trained on, showed even better form at 3.
It is Practical Joke in the Allen Jerkins.
He's going to be a horse that no commercial breeder can leave off their list.
That time at Oaklawn, win a home run. Made for a big night. Bet on your favorite teams at Oaklawn's new race and sports book. Oaklawn, a new level of action, a new level of excitement.
The thermal spring waters our city is named after are known for their legendary healing properties. Their thirst-quenching properties are pretty nice, too. Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's different here. Come see why.
Run Happy was a really nice racehorse. The biggest attribute that I see about him is the way he stamps his foals. You know, they got big, pretty walks on them. They got good hips and shoulders. Very pretty to look at. And, you know, a real strong hind leg. You know, everything that you're looking for as a racehorse. You know, that's what impresses me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races in Live Your Beast Life. Son of Ghost Yapper, first time out, gets the victory with the meets leading rider, adds number 14, Manny Franco. Let's head downstairs, check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Live your beast life. Well, he looked like a beast out on the racetrack today with Manny Franco aboard. And Manny, boy, everything he did prior to making it down the stretch in front was pretty green, even the break, as you had said.
Yeah, I mean, Maggie, he was a little green. I mean, you can see out at the gate, he kind of moved his head and broke a little step slow. But after that, in the backside, he was traveling so well in the bridle. He was getting the dirt on the face with no problem. And in the 516 pole, I tipped to the outside, and he just dragging me. So I was waiting for the moment.
Man, he's bred to be a very nice horse, and he kind of showed it there, putting it all together. 7 furlongs looked to be just a starting point. Looked like he could go a little further than that.
Yeah, I guess he can go a little further with after the race. He got up all nice too, so hopefully he keeps on and he'll be okay.
Manny, our feature day is at Joseph A. Jimma, and you'll be aboard Time Limit for the first time. She's pretty fast if she breaks alertly. Obviously, 2 back, that didn't quite happen. Have you kind of done your homework and found the way to ride her or how you're going to ride her today?
Yes, I got a plan, but we can play by ears. So we got to see how we break and see how the race develops and go from there.
Well, Manny, you're killing it here back at Belmont. That has to feel good.
Yeah, and thanks God, all going well.
Well, good to see you in the winner's circle. Congratulations. Best of luck with the rest of the card.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, just kicking things off here in race number 2 for Manny as he looks to be on a lot more live horses later on, Greg.
Well, he's got off to a great start at this Belmont Fall Meet, leading the way, 14 wins. And, yeah, he'll be on time limit in our feature. There's a lot of speed in that race, though.
There is. I mean, she's quick, but you're not wrong. I mean, obviously the 4, Irish Dancing has speed, and you have to imagine Fierce Lady won't have issues to start today, and she's going to be forward as well.
$14.20. Live your beast life. First time out wins for William Lawrence, Jorge Abreu, and, of course, Manny Franco, who you heard from. Mr. Phil Katama Bay wind up second and third. That is shocking, right? Katama Bay went off at 4 to 5.
4 to 5 on a horse. And I picked the horse. I'm not trying to defend, but it's, you know, they just seem to zero in on one horse like that horse can't lose. And that field, wow.
Well, coming up next, mile and a 16th here in this entry-level allowance, and Off Topic is danced a lot of the big dances. Black Eyed Susan, Coaching Club American Oaks, the Alabama. It's a big drop down in class, but she is taking on couple of older horses.
She is, and she's facing a couple of Chad Brown horses, but, you know, let's make a comparative statement. She probably ends up being 4 to 5 or even money in this race, and at least with Off Topic, you've got a horse who has good recent form, has been running against the best 3-year-olds in the country and running competitively against them, and she may end up being a similar price to the maiden, making its second start that ran a turf race first time out in the second race. And it just kind of puts some perspective on the fact that at 4 to 5, she may not be a bad price. It makes you wonder, was the second one a little over bet? But it's easy to say now, I guess, because she lost.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see her back in action. She was 6 to 5 morning line Off Topic. We'll talk more about this field in a moment. We talked about the boys in the Penn Derby. What about the 3-year-old filly picture? Fairly wide open as well, and another big race with the Cotillion coming up this weekend. Grade 1, our colleague Tom Amos will show up with the Kentucky Oaks winner Serengeti Empress, but the one to beat in this race, of course, is Guarana. But it looks like, I think a lot of people feel the door may be open to try and beat her after the way she finished in the Coaching Club American Oaks.
That's fair, and I'm not going to argue with that. And it's a tough race to flaunt her speed because you've got Jaywalk outside of her and Serengeti Empress inside of her. So this may be one where she's going to have to rate a little bit. If Guarana wins this race with 3 straight Grade 1 wins, she pretty much is a hammerlock on the 3-year-old title, unless Dunbar Road perhaps beats older horses like a late running in the Spinster. Guarana is the one to beat in here, but Serengeti Empress, she has a chance.
That right there was the issue. Was everything going along great, and then just veered out, shied, maybe from the whip, maybe from the 1 1/8.
I don't know. You know, they're all good questions, and it's not like Point of Honor isn't a good horse that she beat, but I agree. That race at least gives you some questions.
Yeah.
Unlike the Acorn, who was so dominant.
Well, she's going to have to take on the Kentucky Oaks champ who ran all out in a showdown against Kofefe in the Grade 1 test. This was one of the real fun stretch duels to watch at the meet.
It was. It was a little disheartening for all of us because every one of us rooting so hard for Tom Amos, our co-worker, to win this race, but it was a thrilling race, and Kofefe's going to run at Churchill this weekend. I don't know that Serengeti Empress can get it done. She's got to deal with the other speeds and get it done, but I know I'll be rooting for it. I think you will be too.
She gets the inside post, which at Saratoga was to her detriment. It might be a real good thing in this race.
Yeah, I mean, there have been times that Parks has had a dead rail. Those times are not always, some more in the past. And we've noticed some big days where the rail hasn't been bad. Let's hope for Tom Amos's sake that the rail and Serengeti Empress, the rail is good at Parks.
For so long, Bellafina was the class of the division. Can she get back to what she was?
I don't know. And Greg, I still maintain she might be better going shorter. Are they going to use this race and she maybe turn back into the filly and mare sprint out at Santa Anita? I don't know. I was surprised that they shipped for this race because the West Coast contingent of older fillies and mares is not that tough. And why not try a race like Zenyatta and not have to ship with a horse that maybe she isn't great shipping, as it turns out, when you consider the Oaks and what she did in the test.
It's going to be fun to watch this weekend. That is a tremendous group that is going to line up. Of course, this picture wide open as well. If you had to choose between Dunbar Road and Guarana, who's better? Right now, who would you choose?
You know, it's a great question, Greg. I probably choose Guarana because she's more brilliant. but I'm not sure that going longer Dunbar Road might prove the better of the two horses, and they're in Chad Brown's barn. I think Guarana has the upper hand for the award now because she has the 2 Grade 1 wins, and Dunbar Road is going to face Olders like Elate and the Spinster, and Guarana's the one to beat at Parks, but you know, Greg, it's a heck of a question.
Yeah, for Dunbar Road and Guarana, gave Chad Brown first ever for him with wins of the Coaching Club American Oaks, and of course the Alabama that Dunbar Road provided when we had that absolute just downpour of rain and sloppy racetrack. She was pretty darn good at 1.25 miles.
She was, and you know, for me, Greg, and I felt like it was really satisfying seeing she and Point of Honor running 1-2 in here. Street Man, who's coming back in the cotillion, running so well, because I didn't want the weather to have such a detrimental effect. You know, I didn't want to see the best horses not run well and somebody say, well, the rain affected it. Dunbar Road is really coming to hand and going forward, and you feel like with Chad Brown, he's got some blanks to fill in, right? He won the Preakness, of course, with Cloud Computing, but he hasn't had the domination with the fillies in the dirt. This summer at Saratoga, he did.
Yeah, he checked off a lot of boxes, certainly this summer, with those wins by Guarana and Dunbar Road. And these two squarely in the picture now as two of the leading contenders, even as they go forward into the Breeders' Cup weekend in here. Now it's a loaded division of some older distaffers. Of course, Midnight Bisou, Elate, they put on quite a show as well this summer at Saratoga, but those are the two you need to get by if you're thinking Breeders' Cup distaff.
You know, the Colts, the 3-year-old Colts, you feel like they have a big shot going towards the Breeders' Cup. Dunbar Road and Guarana are both going to have to really step it up if one or both Elate and Midnight Bisou run their better races, because Midnight Bisou's just been, what can you say about the year that she's had? And Elate's just had the misfortune of being in her shadow sometimes during the year. They're very good horses, and Dunbar Road and Guarana may improve enough to be competitive, but it's not going to be easy.
Going to be a lot of fun to see how this plays out, though. And yeah, Elate and Midnight Bisou going head-to-head when we saw them at Saratoga. Everyone got the stretch they wanted to see between those two, and Mike Smith just so good.
Doesn't matter who Mike Smith is on when he runs against Elate. He just seems to beat her, right?
Incredible 3-year-old filly picture in a big race. Maggie, coming up this weekend.
Yeah, the cotillion is always a good race, and looking forward to that matchup again. I've always, though, as you guys were discussing the two horses from Chad Brown's, I always feel like, I know Dunbar Road, she hasn't won in brilliant fashion as her stablemate Guarana, and she's only had one Grade 1 to her credit. It just feels like if they show up in the Breeders' Cup distaff, she's the one you want. I just feel as though there's a little bit more dependency on her being able to handle older horses and that distance as well. So looking forward to it either way. What a huge weekend they have down at Parks. And it's really emerged as a kind of forming weekend as to what the Breeders' Cup picture looks like come early November. As we'll take a look at a few horses here in the paddock, though, for this third race. It is an allowance, and we do see number 1 off topic for this Mountain 16th event as your heavy favorite. I have no problems with her. Look, her connections have had high expectations for her as a 3-year-old filly throughout this year, and they put her in some pretty lofty positions, obviously coming out of the Grade 1 Alabama, as I mentioned, Dunbar Road, but this is the right spot for her and should be a pretty easy one too. But taking a look at some others in here, we'll take a look at number 5, Smooth with a Kick, who does get a try on a fast track. 3 of her 5 performances have come on tracks with moisture in them, though her one win on a fast one. Last time out was kind of a merry-go-round race where they all ran 1, 2, 3, 4 around the racetrack, and she was the one that kind of had the most trouble. She's down on the rail. She's a bit headstrong down the backside. She is that type of horse. I'm wondering where they put her here today with that long run down the backside as well here at Belmont, where you look 3 back, and she was fairly close to the pace. So Smooth with a Kick, she looks fine, but you also have to wonder, given that pedigree, maybe is she a horse that's a little bit better on a wet track? Today, I think, really defines her and where she belongs and what she prefers as far as surfaces. Chad also puts number 6, Foolish Living, in. She'll try the dirt for the first time, this daughter of Medaglia d'Oro, and the dam was actually a good dirt sprinter. Look, she doesn't look that convincing as far as this surface change. She actually does look more like a turf horse, but I can't give them, I can't, knock them for trying. I just wish it was actually a little bit shorter. She just doesn't strike me as that mile and a 16th type, at least as of now. In her 3-year-old campaign, she's a bit smaller, a bit slighter frame. So we'll see what she does. As number 2, Take Charge Aubrey, maybe it is her day to take charge. There's not that much speed, at least apparent on paper. And I'm wondering, with that stretch out from those 2 7/8 races off the back of that layoff, if she could be in a controlling position here for trainer Bruce Levine. I think she looks better than ever. I know those 2 races this year don't necessarily speak of that, but maybe third off of a layoff, maybe she control here going a mile and a 16th. I think she's a little bit intriguing as one that might offer a little bit of value, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. We're approaching the 11-minute mark to post here for this 3rd race coming up. 1 turn, mile and a 16th, and now that price getting low on the Rail Runner Off Topic, as we expected in here.
Yeah, and I don't think she's supposed to be a short price near. I'm going to be surprised when Take Charge Aubrey runs particularly well in here. She hasn't run well in her 2 starts at Saratoga. Okay, she needed her first start of a layoff. Thought she was disappointing last time out, to be honest. Now maybe she can get back to her good form. Her big win, a mile and 16th here. There was moisture in the track. I'm not a huge fan. I think that Off Topic is very much the one to beat. Smooth with a Kick, the 5. I took a shot and put her on top because I think that her loss last time was very circumstantial. And in that, even though it's the best figure she ever got, she got hung out wide on the first turn. They decided not to use her speed, but then Javier dropped her down to the inside, which wasn't the place to be, and she was just out-positioned, and Ballara, the winner, was able to wire in the front end. And I'm hoping the Smooth with a Kick in this race ends up in a stalking position outside Take Charge Aubrey in what may not be a particularly fast pace, and that can help Smooth with a Kick and perhaps work against Off Topic, who really doesn't have any speed at all.
She just seems, this filly right here, like she has a lot of upside. She's only been on a fast track twice in her career. Once was her debut.
Right.
You can forgive that performance. She got off to a slow beginning, and next time out, she aired by 5.5 lengths at a mile and an 1/8 at Saratoga.
I agree. And she got a good trip and a fast pace to do it in. You're absolutely right. I mean, when things went her way, she ran a terrific race. And she's also, if you just look at her dry track races, she's a relatively lightly raced horse where Off Topic's had a lot of chances. Now, Off Topic's had a lot of chances to get some very good horses. So maybe she's ultimately just getting class relief, and she'll just be better than these. And I don't think either one of us will be surprised if and when that happens. But Smooth with a Kick is the one who has, I think, more upside than anybody else on a dry track especially.
Well, she is one of 2 in here for Chad Brown. He also is sending out Foolish Living, the 6 on the outside, daughter of Medaglia d'Oro, who's had 2 starts. They have both come on turf. Now she gets dirt for the first time.
She does have more of a dirt pedigree, but we've seen these Chad Brown horses that have more of a dirt pedigree excel on the turf. And in general, when Chad Brown does this and then he goes to the dirt, the results aren't great. Doesn't mean that she couldn't win here. Now, I don't know if this is the case. I looked at this and the original thought was they might not have run the race with 5, and Chad said, you know what, I want to run Smooth with a Kick. Foolish Living's not winning a non-winners of 1 on the turf anywhere around here or at Keeneland. So let's try her in the dirt. She has a pedigree and throw her in and make sure the race goes. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean she can't win. But I think if you want one of the Chad Brown horses, you're supposed to want Smooth with a Kick.
Yeah, it would certainly seem that way. 7-2 on the board. Empire 6, by the way, begins here. As we get a look at Cottonwood Falls, Tom Morley, John Velasquez.
Well, she's actually, I mean, you could argue she may be going back to the right surface, right? When she was originally with Chad Brown before Tom Morley had her, she won on the dirt. Now, she didn't beat a particularly good field, but it was a second career start for her in December at Akron in the mud. Why can't she be happy getting back to the dirt? No, she's good enough, but maybe this is ultimately the right surface for her. I think it is.
She's 13-1. You'll get rewarded as she returns to the main track here coming up. We're going to see our post parade here in a moment. And Off Topic, what do you think, 4 to 5 by the time this race goes off?
Yeah, I think 4 to 5 or even money is probably the price she's going to end up being. And Greg, I don't really. Why is that the wrong price? I mean, here she is finishing a good 3rd behind Garana and Point of Honor, who are 2 of the best horses in the entire division.
Yeah, no question. This was 2 starts back, coaching Club American Oaks, and it was only a 5-horse field, but still. She's within striking distance.
Right. She wasn't 3rd beaten 9 lengths.
Yeah.
I mean, she was third and she was right there. I liked her in some races and thought she's run better than it kind of looks on paper. I'm trying to beat her, but I'm not against her. I just was being a bit of a wise guy and just thinking Smooth with the Kick's better than she looks on paper and might have a bit of a tactical edge. But I have nothing against Off Topic. She's just a horse to beat.
Here comes our post-parade, so we'll start with Off Topic, daughter of Street Sense, getting major class relief coming out of back-to-back Grade 1s.
And I think you could say that Todd Pletcher is saying, I'm not going to run the Cotillion, where if all things work out well, she's going to run fourth. Let's get her a race where she can maybe get her confidence back and then look probably towards the Cumley at 1 1/8 at Aqueduct on Cigar Mile Day.
Here's Take Charge Aubrey, Jose Ortiz, Bruce Levine.
They're going to have to hope getting back to the one turn at Belmont going along, and she was successful this distance last year helps out, but she has been disappointing since returning as a 4-year-old.
Cottonwood Falls getting back to the surface where she broke her maiden.
Yeah, I think this is the right surface for her, and whether she's good enough remains to be seen, but she can give a best account of herself.
We jump to the 5 here, Smooth with a Kick, Chad Brown, Javier Castellano.
Didn't get the best of trips last time and returns to a fast track, which, as you pointed out, she's only been on twice with 1 win.
7-2. And the one trying dirt for the first time for Chad Brown, Foolish Living, his other runner.
The pedigree says the right distance for her, but she did win on the turf. I'm not a big fan of either race she's ever run and would be surprised if she's effective here.
And Brucia La Terra, 22-1. Barkley, tag Luis Reyes.
Got to bet $10 on her at a big price. I bet too much on her last time that I need to try to get even, but she was brutal.
So you want more punishment?
No, I got to bet $10 on her, try to recoup the money I lost on her last time. If she wins me, it's $50, and I have nothing on her, Greg. I'm going to be set. You don't want to be near me, so I'm going to do it for you.
I'm going to step off for a bit. Maggie Wolfadale joining Andy after a short timeout here on America's Day at the Races.
Flatter. This prolific son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, he's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. In the auction ring, his yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're gonna go traveling.
What I like best about Run Happy Desire, he showed so much brilliance to win the Grade 1s that he won, different racetracks, and he was competing against the best horses that made it look easy. When I first heard about the bonus, I thought it was good for everybody, buyer or seller, gets everybody on the same page, that there's a lot of enthusiasm with the horse already, and I think that just helps add to it. I think these Run Happies, the public already wants to like them. That's a great thing, and I think that's a little icing on the cake for the whole deal.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome to America's Day at the Races as the Joseph A. Gemma. It's our feature, Fierce Lady. She's a nose away from sweeping the 2-year-old filly stakes for New York breds as she'll look for her second win in a row today, but possibly standing in her way is the Christophe Clement-trained Irish Danzig, who was geared down after winning by 6.5 lengths. Ira Ortiz saving a little bet in the tank to take on winners for the first time. America's Day at the Races is always brought to you in part by America's Best Racing as we are here at beautiful Belmont Park. Welcome as we have just a glorious day on tap for Wednesday Twilight Racing. Hello, I'm Maggie Wolfno. Please be joined by NYRA handicapper Andy Sterling. And up here on the studio with you, Andy.
It's nice to have you up here.
Well, thank you, sir.
I missed you. I wasn't allowed to be on with you when you were back on Sunday, but it's nice
I
to
was
be.
sad.
I don't think we've been back together since we got back to Belmont.
Yeah.
Since Belmont in the summer.
Exactly.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. As the Joseph Jimma is our featured 7th race for those 2-year-old New York bred fillies, $150,000 on the line as Fierce Lady Andy. I mean, I remember going back to her debut here at Belmont. It sent chills down my spine. She was brilliant that day. And then they tried to take her to the sale in Kentucky and decided to run her, which just really didn't agree with her. She still ran well in defeat going back to that Stillwater.
Yeah, she did. Now, this is her win last time out, and she showed a new dimension because she got bumped around at the start, and Javier wasn't able to be forward as she's been in her first 2 starts, and yet she still overcame that and won. And that's always a great sign when you see a horse overcoming some adversity and getting the job done. And honestly, I'm going to say her debut, I think it's the best performance we've seen from a 2-year-old filly this entire year.
I agree with you. I mean, I think the other best 2-year-old performance may have come from a New York bred male.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tis the Law
Tis the
has
Law.
been tremendous, and looking forward to him coming back for Barclay Tag.
Yeah, so we have races 3 through 8 for you on this Belmont Park card. We are fast and firm, including this 3rd race, which is a mile and a 16th allowance for the fillies, as we see a big favorite at 3 to 5, deservedly so, Andy, as she drops out of Grade 1 company. That's off topic for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, her race in the CCA Oaks was competitive with the best fillies, 2 or 3-year-old fillies in the country. She runs that race. She's going to be very tough to beat, and I think Todd Pletcher's doing the right thing in saying, take a step back, not running the cotillion, where maybe she runs 4th, and give her a little bit of a confidence booster. And you have to imagine the Cumbly at Aqueduct on Cigar Mile Day is the race they're pointing for at the end of the year.
Absolutely. And, you know, she's obviously shown a bunch to them in the morning, and that's why they've been so high on her throughout. And today just feels like this should be paid workout, though the one that potentially stands in her way is number 5, Smooth with a Kick. Had a bit of trouble in her last start.
She did. You know, I don't want to blame Javier because I think they did not want to get her too aggressive, and they felt that rating her was the move that worked. 2 back probably wasn't the right move last time. It should have been more aggressive because she got caught wide in the first turn. Then he ducked over the rail. The rail wasn't the place to be, and she was never really in a good position, especially on that racetrack. She also may appreciate getting back to a dry track, and there's not a lot of speed in here. So she can be forward with Take Charge Aubrey, and that could give her an advantage. And that's one of the reasons I took her on top of Off Topic.
I think she's better when they don't have to get in her face as much like they did last time. Not that it was necessarily Javier's fault, as you mentioned, but Chad also sticking one in here by the name of Foolish Living. Was this just to get the race to go, or does he feel confident in this horse handling the dirt?
I don't know, and I wouldn't ask him. I felt like it's both. I feel like he probably wanted to make sure the race went for Smooth with a Kick and figured, why not take a shot? Because she does have a dirt pedigree more than turf.
Plus, we're getting to that point in the year where here in New York, you got to think about horses that can run on the dirt.
Well, maybe, you know, if it works out and she runs at least respectably, maybe you consider leaving her here for the winter.
Absolutely, as they are loading in line here, just waiting for a few more. As you did mention the pace really quick, is there any chance that number 2, Take Charge Aubrey, takes charge from the start?
You would think that she's the speed, and you would think that Jose Ortiz sees that, and there's not really much speed. He looks to be aggressive, and I think in that situation, Javier Castellano and Smooth with a Kick, they should be more forward too. And frankly, your husband Tom's horse, Cottonwood Falls, can be forward as well, though she hasn't been in the turf in her recent starts.
She was sharp in the paddock, though, I got to say that, as they are loading in line for today's 3rd race. Heavy favorite on number 1, Off Topic. Will she get the win since breaking her maiden last winter for Todd Pletcher? Larry Colmus has the call.
They're all in line. They're off. Very even start. Take Charge Aubrey out to the early lead with Foolish Living. Off Topic came away well and will settle in mid-pack as Cottonwood Falls goes up in between horses and now grabs 3rd. Then Smooth with a Kick and Brucha La Terra's last, but not far behind. 3 lengths separates them all. It is Take Charge Aubrey and Cottonwood Falls together, and to their outside, Foolish Living. 3 of them across the track. Off Topic behind them, just a length and a half behind, alongside of Brucha La Terra and Smooth with a Kick on the outside. That first quarter mile was 23:08. As they head up the backstretch, it's Take Charge Aubrey by just ahead over Cottonwood Falls. Foolish Living goes with them on the outside. These three continue to race across the track. Manny Franco and the favorite Off Topic sit fourth behind the leading trio, alongside of Smooth with a Kick and Brucha La Terra is last. End of the turn, Take Charge Aubrey has run a 46.51 half and is right alongside of Foolish Living. Cottonwood Falls now starting to backpedal out of it as Smooth with a Kick grabs third. Off Topic is still fifth, still just 2.5 lengths behind, and Brucha La Terra is moving with her on the far outside. So they round the far turn. Foolish Living, Smooth with a Kick. These are the two. Brucha La Terra's taken third on the outside. Off Topic now coming under a ride from fourth. She's in contention here, but she's still 2.5 lengths behind as they come to the top of the stretch, and she'll come outside of the new leader, Smooth with a Kick. Smooth with a Kick and Off Topic are 1-2 now. Giving way is Foolish Living on the inside. Smooth with a Kick and Off Topic on to the final 16th, and Off Topic has forged her way to the front, and now she'll take off. And Off Topic is going to give Manny Franco another win here. A 3-length win under the wire to Smooth with a Kick, and then it was Foolish Living and Brucha La Terra.
She did not disappoint. Off Topic, she is off to the winner's circle here, Andy, and she sat a pretty good trip. The pace was honest enough, though.
It was. It's funny. It's one of these races where there wasn't any pace on paper,
yeah.
So everybody decided to go, and I think that Javier actually taking back Smooth with a Quick kick to the right thing, but you know, sometimes in horse racing, the best horse actually wins. And Off Topic was just the best horse. Manny was confident, he was patient, and we talked about this after the second race, that this horse was the exact same price as a horse I know you didn't particularly like, Katama Bay, in the second race. Shows you why Katama Bay was an underlay, because 4 to 5 on this one. And I picked Katama Bay, I'm not, but this horse was a more likely winner in this spot than Katama Bay was, because she may just be better than these than she was.
And two, considering it's only 6 horses in this field, I mean, she had every right to be a much shorter price than this. As we see Todd Pletcher, he's back from the Keeneland sales as he will get his picture taken with Off Topic.
I don't think that Smooth with a Kick ran particularly badly
No,
in
she
here.
didn't.
She was just second best. This horse was a dominant winner, and as you said, another win for Manny, by the way, was more loquacious in his interview with you last race, and I've seen it a while. He must be getting more comfortable. That's good.
I was going to say that myself. I did not expect that. You know, he's feeling a little bit more comfortable with the mic shoved in his face. It does take a while to kind of overcome that fear, understandably so.
He's over that Maggie Wolfendale intimidation factor?
Yeah, I'm sure it's that, definitely. I'll never forget Ira Ortiz. He was, when he won the Coaching Club American Oaks on Questing. I was his first interview. I was doing an NBC show.
Wow.
And he said, Maggie, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. And I said, you know, he hasn't been in this country that long. I said, it's me. You're fine. You know, you've known me forever. And he did. And he always says, better, right? Better. I'm like, I read that was 6, 7, 8 years ago. I think you're pretty good now.
I think that the show has actually helped a lot of the riders get more comfortable in doing interviews. It's good.
No, it is great. I love catching up with him. Manny is really just firing on all cylinders. So good to see him in the winner's circle. Aboard Off Topic, as she was a popular victor here in race number 3. Manny, 2 for 2 on the card, as we have a lot more racing action, including a little preview as far as Sunday's Gallant Bloom is concerned. Come Dancing, she's been sensational this year as a 5-year-old for Carlos Martin. We'll check in with her, as well as some others running in the Kelso. Stay tuned to America's Day at the Races.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Piranha, the leader in fly control and wipe and spray products, now has premium equine grooming products. Introducing Aloe Pro Shampoo, an organic concentrate enriched with vitamins A, D, and E, and silk protein. Piranha Detangler, a dry comb-through detangling spray that conditions, moisturizes, keeping tail and mane manageable. And Shine Baby Shine, a water-based coat conditioner that leaves a show ring shine every time. Visit piranhaeat.com to see our full line of equine products, and for a limited time, use promo code NYRA to receive a 10% discount on your order. Piranha on, pests gone.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, The best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, as we are brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. Lovely billboard in the middle of the Belmont Park turf course, as we have official prices for you for race number 3. Off topic, she returns to the winner's circle. Manny Franco aboard for Todd Pletcher, and as Andy and I were talking about, Andy Serling that is, where do you go next with Off Topic? Because she's tried some Greatest Stakes company. You would think maybe an overnight stake.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Cumberland, which comes up, I think, right in the beginning of December, so that's a little bit off. And perhaps Todd Pletcher will look at maybe running against older horses and to turn back the alarm. That was the only one that came to our mind, which I think is the last weekend here at Belmont, so the timing would be pretty good. Take a look at that field. It comes up with some interesting horses, but I think she's shown she belongs, and she's the kind of horse that she could keep stepping forward. Could be a good 4-year-old for Paul Pompa and Todd Pletcher.
As race number 4, it's a claiming non-3 life, 35, 6 furlongs on the inner turf course. We see Golconda as the heavy favorite for the ever-potent Jason Service Barn as far as turf sprints are concerned. As I said, welcome to the third floor clubhouse studios. Maggie Wolfendale along Andy Serling. As Andy, we have a lot of great stakes races coming up this weekend. It never ends, it seems, here in New York. We're coming off the heels of Saratoga, and still we have some really popular names coming back to the races. As the Friday, it's a 2-year-old Colts, New York breds in the Bertram F. Vanguard. Then Saturday, the Grade 2 Kelso, 1 mile on the main track, as well as a Noble Damsel. And then Sunday, action doesn't stop as Gallant Bloom, Ashley T. Cole, and John Hettinger, both of which turf races for the New York breds, as those are kind of stepping stones to New York Showcase Day that we have the last. Is it the last weekend here? Or no, it's early 20th
the last weekend
of October. Is the turn back the alarm.
Yeah.
As we're taking a look at Pat on the back here, Andy, as he's going to try the Kelso Open Company. For him, he's never beaten horses in an open company race. He's only taken down New York breds.
Yeah, but he's been in some tough spots against the open company, and you have to think in this field. You see Monongahela for Mike Dubb and True Timber, who ran, I think, second in our cigar last year to the winner of the Kelso, pattern recognition, pat on the back, Golden Brown coming in. Prince Lucky's going to be tough. I tell you what, I am excited to see Plainsman come back for Sugar McGay. I thought he ran extremely well when he finished second behind a track record tying performance from a Tom Amos runner in Saratoga, and he's second off a layoff for Sugar McGay. I think Plainsman's going to be very interesting in there, but it's a tough matchup. Pat in the back is absolutely a player in there, as is the horse inside, Prince Lucky, who had run so well for Todd Pletcher, winning the state dinner right before he went to Saratoga.
And Plainsman, as you were saying, you would have to think that was just a prep, because that's, was it 6.5, 6 furlongs?
7, I think.
7.
Yeah.
That was a little bit on the short side, so an extra furlong for him to stretch out really put him where he needed to be. And also True Timber returning off that long layoff since we haven't seen him since Dubai. Yeah. And actually looking for his first stakes win of his career. He always shows up, he just never quite wins.
Well, he ran well in the cigar last year at a big price, I think 31-1 that day.
Well, Come Dancing, she's been nothing short of sensational this year. She turned back in the Grade 1 Ballerina last time and overcame a bit of a troubled start and had to circle about 4 wide throughout the running of this race. But Javier Castellano, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason, and plus, she's just that good.
She was dominant here, I agree. And getting left, she just calmly sort of went around, sped it up in the second quarter and buried the field. Not exactly sure who she's going to be running against in the Gallant Bloom, but if she runs her race, she's going to be very hard to beat.
And this just looks like a common canter. She worked here this past Saturday over the Belmont Park training track for Carlos Martin. Looks as though Javier is in the irons there, possibly, and worked 48 and 4. She always works fast, Andy. He had tons of horse, though, and it's just great to see the patience that Blue Devil Racing and Mark Halliday have displayed with this mare to keep her going at 5 years old after all the setbacks. And she is turning back a half a furlong here, but I've always thought that maybe shorter is better for her.
I agree. 6.5, 7 seems fine for her, and she has to be considered, assuming things go well in the Gallant Bloom, one of the favorites, if not the favorite, for the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint.
Absolutely. As the Bertram F. Bongard, it's the other division of our feature today. 7 furlongs on the main track here for the New York bred 2-year-olds. And we'll see, it's a compact field, but a very competitive one at that. As City Man, he's coming in off the back of a dominant performance in the funny side, and he'll look to remain undefeated here for Christophe Clement. And I thought that visually, this effort, although he was a little bit all over the place in the stretch, he's still learning, but he just really hits his best strides late.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is a horse that the way he's running, I mean, you never know how far they really want to go, but with this race and then stretching out theoretically to a mile in the Sleepy Hollow, he seems to really kick it in the late stages. Now, this was, I thought, a real step forward from his maiden win, which was somewhat workmanlike. He was good in there, but he's got some maiden breakers, 3 jokers, and Munaki to run against, especially Munaki, that are very, very talented.
Munaki just destroyed a field, but here's 3 jokers in his last workout on the main track for trainer John Terranova, as he put it all together last time. He was actually a late scratch going back to the beginning of Saratoga because he flipped in the gate. He was so much more professional in his second effort. Simon Harris aboard started off 4 lengths behind older rival Lundquist in this workout. Simon shook the reins at him, and he goes clear at the line here.
Yeah, no, I think he's a nice horse. It's not going to be easy. I mean, as you say, City Man's been very good, and Munaki was extremely impressive in his debut. We'll see if he can step forward in this race.
And he is a half to the talented 3-year-old in Funny Guy, who won the Albany.
It's a lot of good horses in that family, besides Funny Guy, right? There's a whole lot of good runners, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's a long
Their names
list.
are escaping me
No,
now.
I can't remember either, but I think there's a whole list of them.
Yeah, so looking forward to the Bertram F. Bongard coming this Friday, as we will take a look now at this race coming up. This is today's 4th race, and Golconda, Andy. I mean, she's coming in here for Jason Service, just taking a needed drop in class by the looks of things, and she didn't even run that badly off a bit of a layoff at Monmouth last time.
Yeah, I mean, she's not a superstar, but she may have found the right field. Found a stat for Jason Service. Allowance to claiming races in turf races of 5 to 6 furlongs. He's 14 for 25 with an ROI of $2.86. I don't think she ran great in here, but I think she ran well enough to beat this field. And I know we saw some Jason Service's horses disappoint at short prices over the weekend. They were turf routers. In general, his turf sprinters show up, despite the fact that we beat one on Sunday, but that one
Apparently,
that
we beat
surprising.
one. Our good friend Banana Thief in the last race. That was a long photo. We had to wait that one out over Colton, Mississippi, as we are taking a look at Henry Saddling, Jason Service's New York assistant. Number 4, Morissette. What do you do with her? Because 2 back in her turf sprint, she was awful.
Awful. I mean, she got a good ride from Luis Saez. He had her tucked in. She angled out top of the stretch, and she went backwards. Now, she ran okay in that sloppy off the turf race, and her race at Monmouth 3 back against Odermark, who actually ran well to be second and probably was best here a couple of weeks ago, was good enough to win here. And she gets Joel Rosario, who she has not had for a turf race, so I can understand why some think she's the other one in here. We'll see, but her race 2 back, Maggie, she better run better than that one.
She better had, as Joe Sharp, he's done okay here starting off this Belmont Park meet. I think the most interesting horse who is taking a lot of money, unfortunately, is number 3, Factoring. You have to go back a ways, but the last time that she was in a condition claiming race, she won. It was her best race. It was in a 6 furlong sprint here at Belmont for Michelle Nevin. I think she's been in some pretty tough positions in 2019.
And in general, Michelle Nevin, as a trainer, they need a start. She's not good off layoff. She's not good with firsters. And I'm going to give her a pass for her last race. Now, obviously, she didn't run well in her last race before that, but that was coming off of a 6-month layoff at Well. And I used her as my backup at here. I used 3 and 8, my pick 5.
Looks like a lot of people are using the gray filly by the Factor. We'll see, though, Golconda, she is sitting strong at 8 to 5 on the board, dropping in for the price for the first time for the ever-dangerous Jason Service. Barn & Sea looks to pick up his 6th win of this Belmont Park fall meet. Stay tuned. Greg Wolf replaces me. I'll be back down where I usually am, Winter Circle Paddock. Stay tuned to America's Day at the Races.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, plus 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, and international star Shamal Nibras. This year, his 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures. And there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guys gonna do it.
Funny Guys winning the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
I started owning racehorses in 1995, so it's been a long journey to find Run Happy. And in fact, Run Happy was going to be the last horse I ever owned. And I was getting out of the business. I'd had so many disappointments and heartbreaks and lost so much money at it. And then came Run Happy. So I guess the lesson there is persistence, never give up. The King's Bishop was a great race. It was my lifetime goal in horse racing. I had been win a Grade 1 race, never won one before then. And Run Happy won that race in stakes record time, almost track record time. So he got a 1:13 Beyer, one of the great performances of his wonderful career. So it was definitely a highlight, not only of my racing life, but my whole life.
Run Happy has won the NYRA.com King's Bishop by 4.
His performance in the Breeders' Cup Sprint was one that people will talk about for years to come. I mean, it was another, yet again, freaky performance, set the track record. The way he did it was pretty incredible.
The Breeders' Cup was a great race. He was up against a bunch of great horses and got a little behind, was way behind at the top of the stretch, and then he made an amazing run down there and won the Breeders' Cup race.
Run Happy just keeps coming at him past the 16th pole. Run Happy, and boy, does this horse love to run.
The Breeders' Cup Sprint champion, new track record at Keeneland, so again, just a testimony to this great horse and the team behind him, which was, you know, Laura and Cordell and the team that devoted so much time, effort, and energy to Run Happy.
He was just everything that a groom wanted with a horse. He was great.
No horse had ever won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. They come back and won the Malibu, you know, a month and a half later. So that was kind of a gamble. We wanted to put him in the Malibu, and he won that with Gary Stevens aboard pretty easy. So that was another great race.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
He won at Keeneland, he won at Santa Anita, he won at Saratoga, several of the legendary places in horse racing. And what a great horse, what a great thrill it was to be around Run Happy and now to follow his stud career. We couldn't be prouder to have Run Happy and have him stand at Claiborne Farms. That is myself and my daughter's happy place. We love Claiborne Farms, and Run Happy loves being there.
We put him in stall number 1 for a reason. We have a lot of confidence in this horse. We think he has all the capabilities and characteristics that you kind of look for in a great stallion. You know, he had the speed, he had the form, he had the freaky talent, the athleticism, and he's really thrown it in his foals and yearlings. So we're over the moon with what we've seen. We feel like we're in a great spot, and now it's up to the offspring to prove it.
Looking forward to his first winner and hopefully his first greatest stakes winner. So we're going to have a lot of our own Run Happies. We campaign ourselves, and Obviously, lots of other people have Run Happy, so we're really looking forward to see if he can pass on his brilliance to these horses.
We're more than pleased. Keeneland came out the other day and were raving about the Run Happies that they've seen in their inspections. And we have a couple here that are very nice, and one's extremely nice, and he's a Book 1 candidate. So we're looking forward to showcasing him in Book 1, hopefully at Keeneland. And, I think the buyers will like what we've seen.
We have 4 Run Happy yearlings, and we hope to buy some more at the sale, so hopefully we'll end up with 10 or 12 by next year. We decided to stay in for the majority share of Run Happy, so Run Happy is still part and parcel of our family. We think about him every day, and he's just, he's a champion to all of us.
What a runner he was, and he has been a tremendous hit as a stallion so far. Looking forward to seeing his runners hit the racetrack next year as 2-year-olds in 2020. Greg Wolf back in for Maggie Wolfadale along with Andy Serling. Get you for a little more before Paula Dukas steps in and we get into our late pick 5 here coming up.
That's right. I'm alive in the early pick 5, and I used the same 2 in here. I used 3-8 here and 4-5 in the next race and played a pick 5 myself.
Here's Dancing with Daffodils, 6 furlongs, inner turf, non-winners of 3 lifetimes.
She has really improved, and she gets Jose Ortiz back, and he rode her to a second-place finish last time she sprinted the turf. This may be a tougher spot, though.
Oh, factoring taking money, 10-1 morning line, 5-1 now. Do you get it?
I do, actually.
You do?
She's
Okay.
my backup. I used the
Really?
3 and 8 in here. I'm hoping second off a layoff. She has races going back, but she's got to refine her form. But often Michelle Nevins need a race off a layoff.
Morissette, 4-1. It's Joel Rosario, Joe Sharp.
Her race 3 back at Monmouth makes her a player in her here. The last time we saw her in Saratoga on the turf 2 back, she was awful.
Yeah. Questions to
we
answer,
get
no
today?
doubt.
Yeah.
Amanda Lane, Joe Bravo on board, 3 back at Belmont. 6 furlongs was a winner.
Big upset at almost 60-1 early in the meet at Belmont. Her race at Saratoga not good, but she's not impossible to get a piece here, I think.
Tappan Zee, last 2 turf tries were not good, but the last turf try sprinting was not that bad.
No, but I think, she's going to have to step her game up to beat this field. She's a big price.
Golconda, 6-5, used to be with Chad Brown, was in some stakes races, and then went to Monmouth with Jason Service and got beat.
Is she getting needed class relief, or is she a negative drop down? These allowance to claiming moves for Jason Service and turf sprints work more than half the time.
And Moyne Spun will cut back in distance. Brad Cox, Javier Castellano.
He's a dangerous trainer, Brad Cox, but she's coming back a week after a very, very being a mediocre field going longer. She's going to have to improve.
And Queen Cayan on the outside comes in off a win. That was on a race that was taken off the turf.
Yeah, her 1 turf sprint does not match up with these.
Get signed up. Play along with Naira Bets. Bet $200, you'll get $200 in your account when you use the promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NairaBets.com.
The number 8 horse in this race, Golconda, the favorite. We're talking about her a little bit, and she obviously was way over her head when she was in Chad Brown's barn. I mean, I shouldn't say way over her head. She actually got beaten 2.5 lengths in the stake race, won by Eye in the Sky, who we saw be very impressive in Saratoga. And last time out, it was a respectable effort. I think the question you have to ask yourself is, why are they dropping her so suddenly to 35,000? Now, a lot of times Jason Service is able to get away with these big drop downs because people are afraid to claim from him. He's only had her for 1 start, so it's not as though she's a horse that he really improved. And I think they're saying, you know what, we kind of want to get her claimed. She's only a 3-year-old filly, and if you're looking for a reason to be a little bit suspect of her, maybe that's one.
I think there's a few negatives here. The drop in class came last time, right?
Well, it wasn't a claiming race. It was an optional claiming race, and she was not in for a tag. And I do think that the horses that beat her are better than who she's running against today.
But I think people are seeing those stakes races and saying what she's facing here.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's not, listen, this is not a tough field. She's the horse to beat based on her turf races. It's Jason Service. But the drop down concerns me a little bit.
All right, here's factoring again. So John Velasquez will ride for Michelle Nevins, 6-1. We saw her at Saratoga, and off that effort, that would not be good enough here.
No. It was a much better field, but that was a poor effort. No question about it. But Michelle Nevin is a trainer that horses often need a race off a layoff. And her prior turf race 3 back was also off a 6-month layoff. She's been rained off the turf some, and she's missed some time. She does have races here going 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs that put her in the picture. And I'm hoping second off the layoff for Michelle, she could run a better race, and that's why I used her as a backup, because I know Morissette can win, but I don't know, man. Her race last time we saw her in New York was not good.
Meanwhile, look at Morissette. Joe Sharp, Joel Rosario, 7-2. And you know, her last effort on turf. Now, she had some issues in that race.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, I thought she got a very good trip and very good ride by Luis Saez 2 back. She stayed on the inside, she angled out in the stretch, and she just had absolutely no horse. But her race 3 back at Monmouth, she beat a horse named Odremark, who arguably was best here when she ran against maybe a better field in this, or at least a comparable field earlier in the meet. So if she can run to a race 3 back, she can win this race.
We'll see. 4-1 right now on the daughter of Munnings. Meanwhile, down on the inside, you have Dancing with Daffodils. 6-1. She will turn back in distance. Last time she was sprinting on the turf, that was 5.5 at Saratoga, and she just missed at almost 6-1.
She did in a race that was dominated towards the front end despite seemingly a fast pace. She improved for her trainer. Now, she's gone from Edmund Pringle to Eduardo Jones since going down here, perhaps somewhat of a lateral move, and she gets Jose Ortiz back. So she's not only returning to a sprint where she's better sprinting, but she also goes back to one of the top, if not the top rider in the country off the Saratoga title win. So I can see Dancing with Daffodils, Lisa's a player. A lot of it's going to come down to whether or not you think the favorite's going to win or if she shows up. I think Golconda's better racer good enough, but it's easy to know why a horse is favored. The questions you ask yourself is why you might want to be a little bit questionable or maybe play against them. And I think there are some things to ask yourself. She's dropping, I'll tell you, she's getting claimed in this race. I don't think this is one where people are going to be afraid, you know, of a Jason Service horse and he improved a lot and think, well, maybe I can't get her to run, because she's only been with him once. And she was with Chad Brown before that. And trainers have some success claiming from Chad Brown because they come from him and they're often in very good shape.
Making their way onto the turf course here, post time for the race that kicks off our late pick 5. 143,000 and growing in that pool. As you look at Moinspun, winner last time out, back just 7 days ago at a mile on the turf here at Belmont.
Unless you are confident that sprinting for the first time in her career, she's going to improve, I don't see how she can win here. I mean, that field she was in against Belmont last week at 4-5 was decidedly subpar. I mean, and I'm being nice.
Quick return, maybe a sign of confidence from Brad Cox. We will see.
Not good numbers turning back for trainer Brad Cox in the turf to sprint distances below 7 furlongs, 7.5 furlongs. He's just 6 for 32 with a $1.22 ROI for what it's worth.
And I thought the 10, the only turf try sprinting was a decent effort. Some upside at 15-1.
I'll be rooting for you if all my horses fall apart.
Numbers on turf have not been stellar.
She was also with Linda Rice, I believe, when she ran that one turf sprint, and I agree, this barn has struggled on the turf.
4-5 on Golconda. Jason Service, the 8 with Irad Ortiz Jr. We stand it upstairs, kick off this late pick 5. Here's the voice of New York Racing, Larry Colmus, for the call.
They're all in line. They're off. Morissette on the inside, breaking sharply. Queen Cahen on the far outside. Tapanzi between those two. Golconda's close up running in fourth. And Dancing with Daffodils on the inside. Amanda Lane factoring between those two. And Moinspun. Up the backstretch, Tapanzi, the leader, pushed along by Queen Cahen on the outside. It's these two that'll take him through this first quarter mile, with Golconda laying in third, 3 lengths off of them as they race for the far turn at 21.91. Sharp opening quarter mile here. Morissette is fourth on the inside. inside of Amanda Lane. Then Moyne spun on the outside of Factoring. Dancing with Daffodils has been guided outside of horses at the back of the pack and is 6.5 lengths off of Tapanzi, who continues to lead the way. Queen Cahen pursues from second. Then the favorite Golconda third, 3 off of them. They're into the stretch with Tapanzi to catch. Tapanzi leads the way. On the outside is Queen Cahen, Golconda closing down the center. Morissette is next. Queen Cahen has hit the front as they arrive at the final furlong. On the far outside, it is Golconda, and then it's Morissette in third. Queen Cahen, Golconda, down to the wire. Queen Cahen holds off Golconda. And then it was a photo between a late closing Dancing with Daffodils and Morissette.
18-1, Queen Cahen, second time on turf, second off the claim for Mertcon Contermasi. With the wins, hold off the big favorite.
Maybe we have to start moving Merton Contermasi's turf horses up, because she certainly ran today. And I'll tell you what, Golconda had absolutely no excuse whatsoever. She's had a perfect trip, angled out, and had absolutely no answer down the stretch. I know it was a narrow defeat, but she did not run well in defeat. It's a poor effort by her.
Luis Saez trying to get a little extra out of Queen Cahen because the big favorite right behind him, just enough in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, if you're alive and use this horse in late pick 5, good luck going forward, because most people did not. It's a very disappointing loss. I'll be interested to see Golconda getting claimed, because she did not run well. It does not bode well for her going forward.
I believe the 4 held off the 1 for third. So it looks like 10-8-4. So 18-1 over even money over 3-1. But big start to the late pick 5. If you happen to use Queen Cahen here, who had only that 1 turf start sprinting, and a monster number overlooked here.
Yeah, I mean, she couldn't win off of that race, at least to me. She was in a race that completely fell apart. I think she obviously improved, but I also think Golconda did not run well in here in defeat. She was a very phony loss by her. She hung badly.
And, it was a 59-01 shot who was leading the way in here, Tapanzi. And then when Luis Saez asked for more, he got it from Queen Cahen. She took over, and it was just, did she have enough to hold off this big favorite? And she did.
Yeah, and Golconda really hung. I mean, she had every chance to get by the favorite in this race.
We talked about the negatives with her.
Yeah.
Now the question is, did she get claimed, or is she staying with Jason Service? And for that matter, this filly right here.
I have to think that Golconda got claimed, and I wouldn't want to be the one who claimed her.
Are you stepping out?
I am. I'm not. Am I stepping out this second? Not yet. You're not quite rid of me just yet.
Okay, I see people lurking.
That LaDuca guy is lurking,
Yeah.
I agree.
Making me nervous. 18-1, Queen Cahen to kick off the late pick 5. Prices will set up race 5 when we return on America's Day at the Races.
You know, I think Run Happy has a lot of things going for him. Obviously, he's been very respected, and to give people further incentive to buy them for where they can take an offspring, run it, and if they win, they're going to get a $100,000 bonus for each Run Happy they have. You know, it's another selling point from our perspective that really helps us promote the horses that we're representing and we're selling.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop has arrived. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Get it for you after the break.
Back on America's Day at the Races is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling with you. We are underway in a late pick 5. Queen Cahen, daughter of Painter, second time on turf and wins it 18-1.
Yeah, gets the job done. Held off the heavy favorite, no excuse for that one. And Merton Contermasi, well, this one pays for a lot of losers in the turf if you had this one.
Wondering, trying to find out if Golconda got claimed or not. But 38.80 on Queen Cahen. Robert Amendola. Luis Saez aboard for the victory. 10-8-1 finish, being told both the winner and the second place finisher claimed.
Well, maybe you're optimistic you claimed the 10. I would not be with the 8 Golconda. It's a very disappointing loss for her, a heavy favorite.
Race 5, we move on. It's a mile on the turf. New York bred, maiden special weight coming up in Klickitat. Javier Castellano, Jimmy Jerkins. Third start of his 3-year-old campaign. Can he get it done here today?
I think you're going to have to hope the Lasix moves this horse up, because I haven't liked either of his efforts, to be honest. He probably should have won 2 back. Last time I didn't run that well. It was a race that was sort of dominating the front end, except the winner came from well back in there. But maybe first time Lasix for Jimmy Jerkins will be the charm.
Brad Cox also with a big contender in this race. That is the 2 Wayne's Footsteps. Brad Cox, of course, had a breakthrough year last year with his superstar filly, Monomoy Girl, in her championship season, fueled by a competitive spirit. Doesn't matter if it's a maiden claimer or the Breeders' Cup. Brad Cox wants his picture taken when they cross the wire.
I'm very driven. I kind of feel like I'm driven by the fear of failure, to be honest. I don't want to fail. I don't want to lose at anything. So that's just my personal take on it. But I don't know. I just want to be as successful as I can and accomplish as much as I can in this life. So it's you live it once, do the best you can. It's fun to win, and especially nice races like Monomoy Girl Grade 1s. I mean, it's an excitement, it's a feeling that no other.
Monomoy Girl's got plenty left in the tank. Oh, what a fabulous filly she is! Monomoy Girl wins it by 3.
I mean, I like winning. It doesn't matter if it's a maiden claiming 10,000 at Indiana Downs on Tuesday. I mean, I love to win, but there's something that goes for that when you're winning Grade 1s and graded stakes, it's an amazing feeling. Winning graded stakes with obviously this filly winning the Acorn and the CCA Oaks are huge accomplishments that on this circuit, this is a very, very, I mean, this is probably the best circuit in the country, and this is a world stage, NYRA. People throughout the world pay attention to racing here, just with the pedigree and the bloodlines and the quality of horses here. So it's a huge deal.
Monomoy Girl, the 16th to go. Blue Prize, Wildcat finishing well on the inside. And then comes Midnight Bisou. Monomoy Girl has won the Distaff.
I can tell you I'm not content. I'm not content at all. I'm happy with what we as a team have accomplished, but I'm not content, by no means. The goal is to have, like I said earlier, graded stake horses. We want to win the Kentucky Derby. We'd like to, and I'm sure if we win it once, we'll want to win it again. So that's the goal. I mean, I idolize guys like Bob Baffert and Dwayne Lucas and what they've accomplished in their career and are still accomplishing. So, those are the guys that I look up to, and, get on Equibase and see how many graded stakes they won in a year, how many grade 1s they won in a year, Triple Crown races, and, those are goals that I'm after, chasing, and, hopefully someday we can get there.
Oh, Monomoy Girl, what a campaign she had last year for Brad Cox. Championship season for her. She is out for the rest of the year, but connections do want to bring her back as a 5-year-old.
Well, we'll see if that happens. I certainly hope it does, but she had a tremendous year last year, and it's kind of tough to think what she could have added to the division because it's already been so strong with the late and Midnight Bisou, and she was better than Midnight Bisou last year, but we didn't get to see her as a 4-year-old, but maybe we'll see her as a 5-year-old, but it doesn't detract for what she did as a 3-year-old.
It's been so fun to see Midnight Bisou in a late go head-to-head. Can you imagine if she was still in the mix this year?
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
you know, but she was great last year.
No question. Well, Brad Cox could have a very strong say in our next race coming up as well. He's going to send out Wayne's Footsteps in here. That is the two who you're looking at. 3-year-old by Central Banker, who last time tried to wire a field at Saratoga at 1 mile and 1/16 and just missed by a nose.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of his chances today depend on how aggressive Eric Cancel is with Moonlight Now, who's coming out of a sprint race and has the speed to run with him, is actually faster in theory than him, at least early. Wayne's Footsteps had no excuse last time out. Arguably didn't have an excuse 2 back, but maybe the speed will make him dangerous today.
All right, so here's a look back to August 23rd at Saratoga. And trying to do it all the way on the front end, would miss by a nose in the second start of his comeback trail of his 3-year-old campaign. And Luis Saez, he had a great meet, being aggressive in these, especially in the turf races, and getting out in front. That time, just missed.
I did not like, though, that he lost to a horse, Cataract, that did not have a good trip in that day. And really, he had no excuse to lose that race. And I know he lost by only a nose, but you've got a horse that's been second and third 5 times in 6 starts, short prices in 4 of those. To me, these are the kind that he can win, but I want to play against.
Well, there's a look at Jimmy Jazz. Thomas Bush, Joel Rosario, 3-1, was in that same race, was 4th beat a length that day. And now this is going to be the 8th try on the turf trying to break through.
He's another one that he's piling up the chances, right? Now, he hasn't been, he's been a short price in 4 of his races and narrow defeats, no real excuse. He did lose to Grade in a curve 2 back, who came back with some decent efforts subsequent to that and seemed to have improved. But what was his excuse? He was stalking outside Wayne's Footsteps in the moderate pace last time and had no answer. They can win, but one of the reasons that I went to Quiet Out East is I just don't like these two that much. Not that they can't win.
Well, here is your best bet of the afternoon. Quiet Out East. Manny Franco, Meets leading rider, will be aboard for Christophe Clement, getting back to turf and stretching back out.
Yeah, if you look at this race, it was, and I'm trying to look at it actually, it was run during a driving rainstorm. And it was a weird situation. It actually stopped as soon as the race was over. He ended up making a wide premature move in here. And I think a lot because of position with horses coming outside of him. Manny Franco probably moved too soon. The winner got a perfect trip, saving ground and coming up the inside. I also think 1 1/8 maybe a bit far for Quiet Out East as well. And while Christophe Clement went back to the dirt with his horse, I'm not convinced the turf isn't the right surface. And even though he lost to Wayne's Footsteps, the 2-year-old back in October, and that was a brutal beat, he was in the worst part of the track, chasing wide in the time you wanted to be down on the inside. I think he's back to the right surface, cutting back from 1 1/8 to 1 mile. He makes a lot of sense, and he's a new face to the group.
Meanwhile, Klickitat, Jimmy Jerkins will get Lasix this afternoon. His 3-year-old returned to the races. That was a big effort, 6 wide, just missed. And off that, you would say, well, now's the time. Didn't happen for him at Saratoga.
Yeah, I don't love the races he's coming out of. We'll get to that. I think with him, he was a little wide last time. You want to give him the excuse, though he wasn't that competitive last time. Maybe getting Lasix will move him up. Jimmy Jerkins is one of those trainers that has good numbers, getting Lasix for the first time. Don't know the reason they've waited so long. Brad Cox didn't use it. Jimmy didn't use it, but now he's putting on, and the board's saying he's going to run better.
We're going to take a break. Andy stepping out. Paul LaDuca will be joining me after a break. Much more coming up, including our feature race. Joseph A. Jimma and Fierce Lady trying to get the better of Time Limit one more time after she beat her in the Seeking the Ante at Saratoga back on August the 23rd. She's 7 to 5 on the morning line for our feature race. Still ahead.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Run Happy was a really nice racehorse. The biggest attribute that I see about him is the way he stamps his foals. You know, they got big, pretty walks on them. They got good hips and shoulders. Very pretty to look at. And, you know, the real strong hind leg. You know, everything that you're looking for as a racehorse. You know, that's what impresses me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
That time at Oaklawn, win a home run made for a big night. Bet on your favorite teams at Oaklawn's new race and sports book. Oaklawn, a new level of action, a new level of excitement.
The thermal spring waters our city is named after are known for their legendary healing properties. Their thirst-quenching properties are pretty nice, too. Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's different here. Come see why.
12 categories covering the best of the sport and lifestyle, all decided by the fans. It's the America's Best Racing Fan Choice Awards.
Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net today. Look at the ABR Fan Choice Awards. You can vote between November 6th and the 20th in all these different categories: best racing fashion event, racetrack food, cocktail, podcast, analyst. I'll tell you who I wouldn't vote for. Well, maybe I won't. Joining me on set, 4-time Major League All-Star, Paul LaDuca. Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
And I wasn't
Wolfie.
going to say your name there.
That's okay. It's
No,
all
I
right.
wasn't going to.
It's okay. How you doing today, Greg?
Good. Yeah, we got a little wind out here, but beautiful weather. As we move on, we got the Late Pick 4 coming up. We still have our feature with these 2-year-old fillies and this rematch between Fierce Lady and Time Limit, but it's not just those two. Of course, that new shooter, Irish Dancing, looks like she's going to be really tough.
Yeah, New York bred. That was absolutely just dynamite first time out for Christophe Clement, the filly by Danza. And when you look at Danza, a lot of Danza hasn't sent out that many. It's his first crop of 2-year-olds, and she absolutely exploded out of a Cactus Ridge mare. Cactus Ridge, old Toby Keith had that one. But, yeah, this New York bred filly for Christophe Clement, we always label Christophe Clement as a great trainer on the turf, but he can train a horse on the turf. He's very good with 2-year-olds, 20%. Red Ortiz Jr. Sticks. The only thing that she's missing is she's missing only experience on the 6 Fierce Lady and on the 2 in their Time Limit. That's it. But other than the way she won, I think she stacks up against them too.
All right, that's our feature race. That is still to come. Right now, it's the 5th, the start of the Late Pick 4. We check in for a paddock report with Maggie Wolfendale.
As they go in the walking ring here, we'll take a look at 2 horses. And look, there's about 3 horses that will be short prices in here, including Quiet Out Ease and Wayne's Footsteps. And they look superb. I really have no complaints. But I'm very intrigued by number 5. That is Click It Tat for trainer Jimmy Jerkins. 3rd off of a layoff and now gets Lasix. As going back to that first start of 2019, well, I thought he looked good in that he'd matured physically. He had grown up a bit. He just didn't look that fit. And now, 3rd start off of that cycle, he just really looks strong, solid, nicely developed behind the saddle as well. And like I said, he gets Lasix. I think this horse could move up with the addition of that here for Jimmy Jerkins. Now, a bit of a long shot is number 7, Risp, or RISP, for trainer Tom Bush. He's only tried the turf once, the son of violence, whom I do tend to like his progeny getting on this surface, but that was going 5.5. I've always have thought that this horse wants more ground, and he's only had 1 try. That was going 1 1/8. Bit of a jump, I'd say, from 5.5 on the turf to 1 1/8 on the main track at Saratoga. So now we're kind of reverting back to a mile here. I like that distance, and I like him getting back to the turf. Physically, this horse just fits these conditions to a T. He's big, he's lanky, he's got some leg to him, he's got a turf hoof, he's more of an even frame. That suggests distance and turf to me. So I'm really intrigued with this guy, as he does add just a short cut blinker as well for Tom Bush. 1 of 2 he sends out here, as he'll also have the inside runner, Jimmy Jazz. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. What'd you hit, by the way, with runners in scoring position?
Oh, in my career?
Yeah.
Oh, I do not know. I seriously do not know. I'd have to look.
Now, we're going to have to look that up. I have a feeling you're pretty clutch. Let's take a look at if you could be clutch in our late pick 4 coming up. Coverage early.
I hope so, yeah. I am going to coverage early. I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here. I thought it was a very interesting race. I even included the 3, Charlie Baker, sharp trainer, 2, 4, 5, and 8. Race number 7, I'm going to take my shot with Irish Dancing because I think Fierce Lady will end up being your favorite in time limit. Those two fillies have been battling each other. I'll take the new shooter. Then 2, 4. I think those are the 2 horses that you have to beat, Fame to Famous, and get smoking. Then I'm going to use the 2 first-time starters in there, the 7 and the 10. The 7 reportedly working well. I'm not going to let Danny Gargan beat me because I know he can get one ready. The son of Palace Malice on the way outside, which Kendrick Carmouche. Usually that means speed debuting with Lasix.
All right, that is the late pick 4. We're just 7 minutes from a start. We begin 1 mile on the turf in this New York bred maiden special weight coming up in favoritism to Klickitat. The 5, Jimmy Jerkins, 3rd start of his 3-year-old campaigner, getting Lasix for the very first time.
Yeah, and, you know, the interesting part is who's going to be able to go with Klickitat. I mean, horse debuting with Lasix, like you said, is Wayne's Footsteps going to lead the way? Is Moonlight Now? Is there going to be a pace duel? Or can Klickitat just go to the front end? I think he's going to try to sit, but there's some other horses in here with some speed.
Here's Jimmy Jazz, Tom Bush, Joel Rosario. He was in that Wayne's Footsteps race, finished 4th, beat a length.
You know, he's a tricky horse, but his best races have been here at Belmont. He does get Rosario, and 2 back, he just missed breaking that maiden.
Wayne's Footsteps tried to wire the field last time out under Luis Saez. Saez back aboard today, missed by a nose last out.
Talk about just missed breaking your maiden. The worry you have is that Saez gave his horse a brilliant ride, was able to slow it down, and still couldn't close the deal last time.
Moonlight Now, 29-1. Charlie Baker, Eric Consell.
My long shot special. Here's a horse that actually got bet first time out, and Charlie Baker's very sharp. Got a turf work for this son of Tiznow. Maybe a big long shot you can throw in at 29-1.
Andy Serling's best play of the afternoon, 5-1 on Quiet Out East with Manny Franco.
I don't argue with Andy liking this horse. The turf effort, the horse was clear, and the move could have been early by Manny. And then when this horse was a 2-year-old, couple really good races on the turf. Not without a shot for sure, especially at 5-1.
Klickitat, our favorite, Javier Castellano, Jimmy Jerkins.
Gets Lasix in 6th career start, and this is a Ridgeling by First Samurai. Now goes to Javier Castellano, and been close, but needs some pace up front.
Beachfront sent out by Jeremiah Engelhardt and Jose Ortiz rides.
You know, this is the interesting horse because the 2nd start of his career, they try to stretch him out. So I wouldn't, you know, put that against him now. He's older now, 3-year-old. He got his start as a 3-year-old, and he might like going long today. He might be sneaky too.
Runners in scoring position, maybe. Blinkers on, Tom Bush.
Yeah, another tough horse to read because the turf race that he comes out of was absolutely loaded. 4 horses out of that race have come back to win, so a tough horse to gauge.
Yeah, including a horse we're going to see later on today in Crack Shot. Wild Boar, John Kimmel, Irad Ortiz Jr.
You know, he runs like a horse that wants to go long, and he sort of runs even, so maybe going around, I guess, 1 turn, but going at least a mile will help. But this horse did go 1 turn mile at Aqueduct on the dirt and ran okay, but we'll see if he takes to the turf going longer.
Pick 4, 153,000 plus and growing 4 minutes to get down in the sequence. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with trainer Jeremiah Engelhardt, always telling jokes, this guy. As we got to get down to serious business here, Maya. As we got to talk about your horse in here. Bit of a long shot. Yeah. That is Beachfront. He's only tried the turf going long once. It was over yielding ground. Could that be an excuse?
I'm hoping. You know, we were a little in between distances as far as when the races were coming up. We wanted to give him one more shot at this level, and the miles seemed like it might fit him okay. So hopefully he's been training well, so hopefully he can get there.
You've been very influential with your New York-bred 2-year-old fillies, 2-year-olds in general this year, but you'll send out Thea's Theme in the Joseph A. Jimma. Now, she is coming off of a race where numbers-wise isn't the fastest, but she was kind of complimented by her stablemate in Critical Value coming back and running a 70. What can we expect from her in her 2nd start?
Well, I'm hoping that she makes the same jump forward in her numbers. So, and if she can, you know, if she gets a nice little pace duel, then hopefully she'll be right there too.
Now we'll also see this Saturday in the Kelso, pat on the back. Not the strongest rendition of the race, but also the one-turn mile. Is that an ideal kind of distance for him?
Yeah, he should win.
You did it. You did it. I owe you. I owe you.
No, he's doing really well. I actually came down to the barn yesterday for training, and the exercise rider Christian, he's told me he's been doing really well. XL, she's got him looking good, so hopefully he runs his race.
Well, Maya, wishing you the best of luck with all your stakes runners coming up this weekend. Hopefully they all win.
They'll win.
Don't worry, I paid him to do that, Greg.
Have a very big weekend coming up. All smiles right now. We'll see. He's got his theme later in the Joseph A. Jimma, who was beat by her stablemate, or I should say beat her stablemate in her debut, and that stablemate Critical Value would come back to win next time out.
Yeah, and I think
she's a player in there.
Yeah, she's a player because I think the key is she won at 6.5, which is very tough to do for a 2-year-old first time out, where everybody else won at earlier. Slower distances or younger distances. What am I trying to? But Fierce Lady's already got 3 races, and so does the 2 in their time limit. So she's still got to improve big time.
9-2 on this one here. So here's Jimmy Jazz. You get Rosario. You would expect this one to be finishing late. You look at that start 2 back, and that was a tough beat. Took the lead in the stretch here at Belmont at 1 mile and a 16th and did not get the job done.
Yeah, and you thought that he was dead home on that day at 3.5 to 1. He got a perfect trip. Castellano put him in the perfect spot, and he rolled home, and he looked like he was home. He fought on well, graded on a curve, went by him, and they were about 3.5 lengths clear of the third-place finisher. I don't really think he gave it up. Now, some other times he's hung. Now, Ortiz put him closer to the pace, but the pace was a little slow last time at Saratoga, so I don't know what Rosario's going to do. Maybe he lays a little bit farther back, but you have Wayne's Footsteps, Moonlight Now, the 3, that's the 2. They all have speed. And the 7, runners in scoring position or RISP, putting the blinkers on. But that speed has to develop. If not, Jimmy Jazz, might not want to give up the rail.
He's the only 4-year-old in this field, tackling a bunch of 3-year-olds, including this one right here, Wayne's Footsteps. We know what he wants to do, you would think. Yeah, I mean, he nearly got it done. He just got cracked right at the wire last start. Same rider back aboard, and you think that's got to be the same game plan?
Yeah, but they went pretty slow last time, and you're right, he did get cracked right at the wire. They were a length clear of another horse, Crazy Life, who was a nose clear of the 4th-place finisher. It was a really bunched-up group. That's my only worry about the 2. I'm surprised he's actually favorite. I get why, because he could be in front here. But like I said, the 3 Moonlight Now, if that horse takes to the turf, it will show speed. I would think the 7 RISP will show speed. The 4 Quiet Out East.
This was an even more brutal beat than the 2 took.
It really
last
was. And this horse has positional speed, I would think, coming out of those 6 furlong dirt races. But the turf race you're talking about, 1 mile and 1/8, this horse got ripped right at the wire by El Hermano, and he beat Jimmy Jazz the 1. So you're getting a good price on the 4 at 9-2, although Jimmy Jazz is also 9-2.
Back to doing where, I mean, he's shown ability on dirt and on turf, but Quiet Out East, yeah, that was a very good effort, even though he just got nailed at the wire. We'll see if shortening it up to that mile distance can be the difference today when he got beat at 1 mile and 1/8 last time he was on the turf. Start of the late pick 4. It's coming up 9-5 on Click It Tat. Jimmy Jerkins, Javier Castellano, the 5, son of First Samurai. We send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. Here's Larry Comas.
Beachfront has moved into the starting gate. Here's Moonlight Now, taking stall 3. Also stepping forward is RISP. So that leaves just 2 left to load. Quiet Out East and Wild Boar to the outside stall. Wild Boar coming up to the gate to complete the line. Steps in. They've opened up the front of the gate for Wild Boar to come in. And now he's in there. They're all in line. They're off. And it's Wayne's Footsteps, sharp from the start, out for the early lead. With Beachfront away running in second position on the outside, Jimmy Jazz is in behind them and steadying in traffic as Risp goes up on the far outside to be among the leading group as well. Moonlight now back running in fourth and Klickitat on the outside. Jimmy Jazz, who steadied on heels, is back in sixth right now alongside of Quiet Out East, 7 off the lead, and Wild Boar trails through a 23.27 first quarter mile. Up the backstretch, and it is Wayne's Footsteps in front. Risp on the outside, 3/4 of a length behind, running along in second. Beachfront is third, just in behind them. Break of another 2 to Klickitat on the outside of Moonlight now. And then it's Jimmy Jazz and Quiet Out East on the outside. Wild Boar is 8 lengths from front-running Wayne's Footsteps, who heads for the far turn after completing a half mile in 47.38 seconds. Jimmy on the outside in second position is Risp as they make their way around the far turn. And then it's Beachfront in third, Klickitat fourth by another 2, then Quiet Out East on the outside. Followed by Moonlight now, Wild Boar and Jimmy Jazz, and they're coming toward the top of the stretch. Wayne's Footsteps trying to shake away here as they turn for home, opening up a 2.5 length lead at the top of the stretch. And then it's Risp in second. Toward the inside is Beachfront, who's hanging right in there with Klickitat and Quiet Out East, and these two are both gaining ground, trying to come and get Wayne's Footsteps in the last 16th. Wayne's Footsteps by 2.5 lengths to Klickitat and Quiet Out East on the outside. They're running out of time, and Wayne's Footsteps is going to last and win it by a length. Klickitat was second, then Quiet Out East and Jimmy Jazz.
Wayne's Footsteps, and this time Luis Saez with the right touch here. Gate to wire win, got out in front, kept on going.
Yeah, it really did. And, you know, you're wondering, okay, is this horse going to stop again? But 134, actually 135 flat, but Lou was able to just click off, you know, nice little fractions here and always was clear. Looked like the 6 had a little bit of horse here at 26-1, didn't kick on. And now you're going to see the 4, Quiet Out East, make a really bold move and then sort of flatten out after getting a right-handed stick right there. And the 2 wins basically clear, coming home in 23 and change. I don't know if he was really coming home or nobody else was, but clear win by 2, comfortable win.
Back-to-back Luis Saez and Wayne's Footsteps. 5th time on turf. It never finished off the board. Gets the maiden breaking score here for Brad Cox.
Yeah.
Anstu Stables and Central Bankers continuing to run well on turf.
No, it is true. This one out of a runaway groom mare, but you're right. Central Banker, son of Speightstown. They really, like you said, have taken the turf. And this is a horse, again, gelded, let's see, August 1st, it's basically saying, right? On 2019, just gelded, or before that, actually. Because the horse ran August 4th, but reported, but gelded since that race October 4th, and has been a different horse on the turf, going long, and Anstu Stables got to be happy.
2-1 wins as your second choice on the board, beating a 9-5 favorite. Wayne's Footsteps. Brad Cox, Luis Saez. We'll have the prices from this race when we come back from a short timeout. We'll set up race 6 as well when we return. That's on the turf, a sprint for New York bred entry-level allowance.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
As commercial breeders, we're always looking for athletes. When I first saw Always Dreaming, I immediately knew he was the type of stallion that we want to breed to bring foals to market. With a great hip, a prominent shoulder, and a huge athletic walk, I knew he was the type of stallion to make his mark on the business. I'm Rob Tribbett, and this season, I'm always dreaming.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. He traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. Now his progeny are hitting the track. His first winners include Saratoga standout Vast, with juveniles selling for over $400,000 and yearlings bringing up to $650,000. The sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We welcome you back here on America's Day at the races. Well, the 5th race in the books as we are looking at Wayne's Footsteps, who made every step a winning one, with Luis Saez aboard, winning back-to-back races. And Louis, you were aboard Wayne's Footsteps for his last 2 efforts. Last time going a mile and 16th up at Saratoga, just nailed. Mile seemed to be the right distance today.
Yeah, today was the right distance. Last time was a tough beat. Wow, we couldn't believe, but well, today he come ready and he do the job. So he ran pretty good.
You're nailed from by a horse from out of the clouds that day, but he did run very well today. Also looking forward to the feature, the Joseph A. Jimma, as you'll be aboard a second-time starter, Naked Avenger. She was very professional in her debut, albeit over a sloppy track. What are we looking for today?
Well, today we're looking for being good spot and see what we got. Hopefully we came to the straight and she responded. So let's see.
There seems to be a lot of speed in there, and she showed she can rate, so that's always a positive sign.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see.
All right, Louis, well, we'll see. You might get some more wins on the card as well. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maggie.
Okay, he's already got 2, Greg. Could it be 3? Could it be 4? Who knows?
Got a chance. What a talented young rider. Been obviously, he's gone through a lot this year with that Kentucky Derby disqualification and big mount that he was looking to get forward to get back going on. Your Haskell winner, we're going to talk about it in a moment here, not going to run this weekend in the Pennsylvania Derby and likely out for the Breeders' Cup as well. So that's got to be a big blow, but he is a world of talent, a lot of big wins in his future.
No, he really does. As you see the prices for race 5, you can see how the Queen Kahane, I guess is that you pronounce that, the filly by Painter that won the last race, really spiced up that early pick 5 to 1,400. But Wayne's Footsteps, Central Banker of a runaway groom mare, Red Melody. Congratulations to Anstu Stables. Yeah, you talk about Luis Saez, you talk about the late pick 5, back-to-back wins, and if you had that double, about $162 for a couple bucks, he can ride. Sometimes he rides the win a little too hard, and I think a lot of the jockeys in the jocks room take it a little personal. But it's been a couple incidents already. Obviously, the Kentucky Derby was highlighted, but it's not just the first time that he's been ridiculed over some rides here and there. But he can flat out ride. Hopefully, he'll get past that and grow up a little bit when it comes to that, because I know a lot of guys in the jocks room get frustrated with him here and there.
He's on Naked Avenger in our feature, and then he's on the one to beat in the Nightcap Fame to Famous. But right now, it's race 6. We will not see him in this race coming up. Our favorite in this race, 6 furlongs, inner turf, New York bred, first allowance condition. That's Crack Shot. Not only the horse to beat, it looks like the horse to catch.
Yeah, the horse to catch. This Colt by Freud is very fast, 22.44 change speed in Saratoga. This horse also has a good second place finish at Belmont, and there's really nobody else in there. Maybe 3 Outlaws, the 6. The 8 Bourbon Mission has a little bit of speed. The problem with Bourbon Mission, the horse has been in 6 times. 5 out of the 6 times is broken dead last.
Well, as for the horse that Luis Saez was the regular pilot aboard this year on the Triple Crown Trail in the Kentucky Derby in the Haskell, that is Maximum Security. We're expecting to see him back this weekend in the Pennsylvania Derby. He is now out, likely out for the Breeders' Cup as well, with a condition called a left dorsal displacement. It's a type of colic. It's a condition that occurs when a portion of the horse's colon turns and becomes stuck over the ligament that connects the horse's left kidney and spleen. Apparently, it's pretty common occurrence in thoroughbreds. It developed shortly after he returned from a morning work on Monday. He was rushed to an equine clinic in New Jersey. Not considered career-threatening, but he is out for this weekend, and looks like he's out for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, and thank God they were able to catch it very, very early. I've actually owned a couple horses and one horse that had the same condition and passed away from colic, and it can happen just like that. And thank God, like I said, they were able to get him to the doctors immediately and be able to treat colic, which besides, you know, the feet is the other basically main factor that actually threatens a horse's life more times than not. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully we'll get to see him run as a 4-year-old. It's very, very unfortunate. and hopefully, you know, thoughts go out to the horse and the connections.
So with him out, Improbable becomes the horse to beat. And here, Bob Baffert's won this race 3 of the last 5 years. He's won it with McKinsey, West Coast the last couple of years. Meanwhile, your Preakness winner, War of Will, Mark Casse says, with no maximum security, obviously you don't have to face the horse to beat in the race, but tactically now it might not set up as good for his horse.
Well, I think he's saying tactically because he doesn't want his horse to go to the front end. He likes his horse to have a target, and then you look at the rest of that field, there's now no pace in that field besides maybe Improbable. I would think Improbable wants to go to the front end because he does not like kickback. Bob Baffert has said that multiple times, that he wanted his horse outside of horses in the Kentucky Derby. Just did not happen, and Improbable completely backed up. Why wouldn't he go to the front end anyway? And I don't understand why the connections think that War of Will won't sit a good trip. He'll be chasing this horse. I understand you don't want to chase Bob Baffert, but you got the Preakness winner. And to be honest, what has Improbable really done besides having Bob Baffert in his corner, you know, since this?
Well, he put blinkers back on for this race. He had some issues that we saw, you know, on the Triple Crown Trail in the Triple Crown races as well, where he was just unsettled in the gate. Blinkers seemed to help. Mike Smith put him forwardly into the race last time out. He didn't beat a whole lot in that race, but he came back off the bench, got the job done. But Baffert wants to see him aggressive and out forwardly place early.
Well, it was known in the Kentucky Derby, and that's why he was a horse that actually really didn't get bet, that he did not like kickback, and he's a horse that wants to be forwardly placed. So in a short field, maybe he can get to the front end and kick on. But again, I don't see War of Will letting him get away with too slow of fractions. But when Mark Casse says something like that, the race doesn't set up for him. I think Mark Casse's thinking, I need more horses to be going to the front end so I can lay, you know, in a better spot. I don't know what he's thinking, but I think maybe laying off Improbable is not a bad spot to be because your credentials are a lot better, I think.
So from that first Saturday in May, now Maximum Security, looks like he has fallen off in terms of who we're going to see as the year goes forward. But horse who was impeded with Maggie in that Kentucky Derby for a brief time, actually took the lead in the stretch in that race. He has come back better than ever in this second half of the year.
Well, I think it speaks to what Shug McGaughey has always strived to do with Code of Honor, Greg, and that was develop him mentally. And this latter half of this 3-year-old season, he's done just that. With coming in off of the Derby, he was dominant in the Dwyer here, and then two, backed it all up with a great win in the Travers. I mean, really, he stamped himself with Maximum Security missing likely the rest of this year as possibly the division leader, as he will partake against older horses in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, along with Tacitus, who has been elusive as far as the winner's circle, but is always right there knocking on the door. They'll both tackle older company for the first time, but I like this last workout we've seen from Code of Honor, who went off slowly. His regular exercise rider, Lexi Paydon, in the irons, and she's got him under stout restraint, but that last kind of quarter of a mile and the gallop out, she really opens her hands, and he goes about 12 seconds flat from that half mile at the wire out to the 5 furlongs in about 1:02 and 4. So it was a really controlled work with a very big gallop out. So I like that with this horse. It's really speaking to the fact that he's settling nicely and really listening to his rider's cues, which he's done beautifully in the last 2 starts for Johnny Velasquez. So if he would take down the Jockey Club Gold Cup and then go to the Breeders' Cup, maybe win the Breeders' Cup Classic, he's a shoo-in as far as being champion 3-year-old male, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. He took such a huge step forward in that Dwyer victory that we saw here, and then that was obviously a 1-turn mile. 2 turns, 1.25 miles in the Travers proved he might be able to hang with these older horses.
No, and listen, at this time of the year, and when we come to Breeders' Cup time, the 3-year-olds compete very well when it comes to this time of year. And I would not forget about Tacitus. We keep forgetting about him. Here's a horse that put blinkers on for the first time at Travers and broke like a rocket after actually almost dumping Jose Ortiz the time before that. Now, second time blinkers, Jose will be able to figure him out. I'd say watch out, and I'm getting a dirty look from Greg Wolf, but he might turn the tables on everybody out here.
All right, you're still a believer. Still to come, our feature race, the Joseph A. Jimma Irish Dancing. Sensational first time out for Christophe Clement in that debut at Saratoga this summer. Can she back it up now? Start number 2 in her stakes debut. That's still ahead.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures. And there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guys gonna do it.
Funny Guys win in the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
Feel my love for you.
Wild About Star shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing 1, 2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
What I like best about Run Happy Desire, he showed so much brilliance to win the Grade 1s that he won, different racetracks, and he was competing against the best horses that made it look easy. When I first heard about the bonus, I thought it was good for everybody, buyer or seller, gets everybody on the same page, that there's a lot of enthusiasm with the horse already, and I think that just helps add to it. I think these Run Happies, the public already wants to like them. I think that's a great thing, and I think that's put a little icing on the cake for the whole deal.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, and that is a look at the speed of the field, potentially even the lone speed in here. Crack shot. Jose Ortiz will be aboard, 7-5 favorite right now, and just broke his maiden at Saratoga at 5.5 furlongs August 7th.
Yeah, it was very, very good that day, and was able to hold off lead guitar, Sean BC, I think, who came back. They both have come back to win, but ultra game this day, and they were like 3 1/4 lengths back from Sean BC, who came back to win here. And he seemed sticking out that nose. That was actually more than a nose, about a half a head. Chart caller must have been upset. Oh, they actually put a head on there, so I forgive the chart caller. Now 3-2 today. This one for Double O Racing, but facing the winners for the first time, always the toughest thing to do. And can this horse get a clear lead from 3 Outlaws? If that does happen and get away with slowish fractions, you might see what you just saw in the last race. A horse go gate to wire on the turf course.
Let's head downstairs, get a paddock report from Maggie.
It does seem as though that Crackshot is the fastest horse, at least early in this race, but he'll have to take it that extra half a furlong, and maybe that is a question on a lot of people's minds, but honestly, I don't see it here with him physically. He's a bit bigger, he's got some scope to him, he looks tremendous. He looks like the horse to beat. While maybe you could poke holes in his form, there's some other horses who have run maybe consistently faster over a longer period of time. He has the less exposure and the lesser amount of starts, which I think is attractive to people as well. Look, I like him here in the paddock, and won't be surprised when he's in the winner's circle in about 10, 11 minutes from now. As we'll move on to number 1, though, that's Riken, who returns as a new gelding. And this is a horse that in some of his starts has kind of dwelt at the beginning and just gotten off hesitantly or broken in, broken out. And a lot of times when you geld a horse, that will eliminate those problems at the starting gate because they become stronger behind. So therefore, it's easier and a lot more free for them to push off from the start. So hoping also, since he's a fresh horse, that he does break alertly here. He's going to have to because when he doesn't break well, he doesn't run that well, and that's what happened in his lone turf start. Actually, I shouldn't say that. He ran on okay in the latter stages of that race, which was wired that day by Fast Getaway back in April. But coming back off the layoff, he looks fit, and he does look stronger throughout his hindquarters. He's come up a bit, so I like to see that. I think Riken, if he puts it all together as a new gelding, he could be dangerous here. As we'll also take a look at number 2, Mystical Song. Well, he's a 7-year-old that's only making his 14th start and has only ever won one race. But he's run fast enough consistently in these turf sprints to make him a player. He comes back off a bit of a layoff. He looks incredibly fit. He's sharp. His coat looks great, in which it did in the earlier part of 2018. So we'll see what he does here. Wilmer Garcia is in the irons here for Rodrigo Ubillo. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Post parade here coming up, 6-5 on Crack Shot. Now we have a horse on the outside, Bourbon Mission, trained by Joe Sharp. Irad Ortiz Jr. will be aboard, coming off back-to-back third-place efforts. Has yet to win on the turf, but reportedly is working pretty sharp in the morning as well.
Yeah, but the problem with this horse is this starting gate, and this is the issue that this 3-year-old gelding has, is that if you look at the 6 starts, here's the start last time out, field of 9, just breaks 8th, and then gets into the race. But it's not like he gets left, it's just what happens. The race before that, 10 horses were in the race, he broke 7. The race before that, 6 horses were in the race, he broke 5th. His first 2 races, he broke dead last, and then the other race, he broke 7 out of 11. I think it's just natural for him. Now he gets an outside draw. I think he's going to break dead last again, but he's been able to overcome it. He went by 5 3/4 lengths, 3 back, but that was for 25,000 on the dirt. We're now on the turf. He's 0 for 3. Do his numbers fit? Yes. But he's got to break out of the gates at some time, or these horses are just going to run away from him.
Post parade coming up. Crack Shot, the speedster, his first time on the turf. He finished ahead of a horse named Rinaldi. He come back to win back-to-back stakes races against New York Bred Company. Here's Riken, David Donk, Manny Franco, new gelding, and off since early May.
You know what? The race 2 back at Aqueduct is not that bad over the turf course, and that's why this horse is getting played a little bit at 7-1.
Mystical Songs floated way up. He was 5-1 morning line. He's 13-1 right now.
Yeah, ridiculous price. This horse has got a big shot in here at 13-1. Yeah, I'm saying it right here. A big shot in here. This horse ran 3 times on the turf in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And a good third.
No way he should be that price.
No.
He clicks down to 10-1 as we say that. Here's the one to catch. Crack Shot, one to beat as well for Jeremiah Engelhardt.
Definitely the one to beat. If you look at the times this horse has gotten beat on the front end, got beat by Call Me Harry, has beaten Rinaldi, so has beaten quality horses.
Joe's Bold Cat, Kelly Rubley trains, Julian Pimentel aboard.
We've seen Kelly come in here and do well. Has already had one horse run a good second. This horse, second off a sprint at Laurel, that's actually had some horses come out of that race and come back to win.
Yeah, 2 next out winners were first and second in that race, in which he finished 4th, beat 2 lengths. 3 outlaws, Joel Rosario, Bruce Brown off the claim.
This horse is, I guess, holds the key to this race. Can this horse show the same speed? Joel Rosario, can he, or does he want to go to the front end and put some pressure on Crack Shot?
Constant Knight, 21-1, trained by Mary Black.
Sort of runs the same race each time, does the son of Dublin, just lays back and makes one big run.
Did have a 3 1/4 length win on the turf here at 6 furlongs at Belmont. And here's Bourbon Mission, Irad Ortiz Jr., Joe Sharp.
Yeah, this is a horse, again, the gait is the issue, but has shown ability over the turf course and has shown that he can be very fast. If you look 2 back, he got dead left in that race and was still up on 2 lengths up on a pace of 21-2 and 44-1. So maybe he's the horse that lays behind Crack Shot.
Play along wherever you may be with Naira Bets. Bet $200, you'll get a $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NairaBets.com or on the Naira Bets app as we get set for a late pick 3 coming up.
Let me ask you a question. Look at the one. Here's a horse that off the turf event, second start of the career, from the rail, gate to wire. Got on the turf April 12th, holler, my birthday, by the way. You can send me a gift next year. Got left, broke 8 of 8. This horse has shown speed in the past. Can the 1 be the horse that shows a little bit of lick? And is that why the son of Central Banker, we've already seen a Central Banker on the turf, is that why he's getting bet the 1? So maybe he's a little bit sneaky with Manny Franco aboard.
Could be. As we're looking at Mystical Song, the 2. Rodrigo Ubillo, 2 back, that 3rd place effort against Electronic. Decent runner. I want to say Linda Rice runner.
Yeah.
Never been off the board in 3 tries on turf. And, I mean, this horse is definitely scary and comes in with a sharp drill as well.
Yeah, and had it says alter. It was more just a tiny bit with Benji Hernandez aboard. It wasn't that much of trouble. And then the race over to Aqueduct was over a yielding racetrack. So this horse hasn't run over a turf racetrack that's been firm in over 3 years. But you make a very good point. Horses that train well over the training track usually take to the turf. They like the tight turns. Rodrigo's very, very sharp. He's 7 now. A 7-year-old gelding by Pleasantly Perfect, trying the turf. But I'm with you. I think this horse can run with these horses at 9-1, and I think the numbers fit.
Got 4 years on some of these. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, he's definitely the senior of the group, as we'll take a look, though, at a 3-year-old, and that's number 1, Riken. As far as warm-ups were concerned, a horse who does sometimes have trouble getting out of the gate. Manny Franco took him immediately away from the pony, gave him a good gallop over to the backside, and I like the way this horse warmed up. He also seems to be a bit more settled than what he was as a colt, so I think it's a good sign for him coming back as a new gelding. I think that should really help his chances. As we'll move to the outside with the horse that Paul was mentioning, having some gait issues, and he just seems like a lackadaisical type of horse by nature. He doesn't really get keyed up. He's just kind of like, all right, dude, whatever. So Irad Ortiz just took him away from the ponies. You can see he's tapping him on the shoulder, kind of wake him up here. I think it's just him. I don't know if there's anything you can do necessarily with this horse. Irad's trying to do everything he can as far as preliminaries are concerned to wake him up, to get him out of the gate alertly. I think it's just him, as Paul was saying. He just seems like a horse who's just kind of a bit on the lazy side when it comes to going in the gate, Greg.
Well, we'll see if maybe
today's
funny. A different day, but yeah, it's been an issue for him.
Yeah.
And in this kind of field, when you're going to have to try and run down Crackshot, who's got talent on the front end, you don't want to give away any lengths early.
No, all you need to look is 4 back when he got left, and Crackshot beat him not by a lot, by 3 lengths, but that's what ends up costing him. I took a shot with him. You can see Irad Ortiz Jr., he kept flagging him with his stick, and like Maggie was saying, he's like basically tapping him on the head like, hey, buddy, get your head in the game, let's go. Start focusing, and he looks like he's starting to a little bit. Maybe he's getting his game face on, but I know I'm getting left. I get it. But the reason why I chose the horse was I don't really love Crackshot. I think he'll be able to get the 6 furlongs because he'll be able to get a slow pace. I think the 8's very talented, and one of these days, if he's going to break out of the gate, he's going to be a really nice horse if he at least learns the gate. But we'll see what happens today. Hopefully, Irad can get him in a good position, and hopefully somebody can go at Crackshot early.
Well, if you're thinking the 6 here, 3 Outlaws, he just has not shown the same kind of speed on turf that he has on dirt.
No, he hasn't. You're right. 2 back, they added Lasix for the first time. They put him on dirt for the second time. It really didn't add up to much, a tiny bit more speed. His first time he ran on turf, he ran well. He closed into a very fast pace. So I don't know what happens today with Bruce Brown, the son of Golden Sense, if Joel Rosario decides to take back, or if he reads the race form and goes, I got to go a Crackshot. But here's the thing. Do you want to be the rider that goes with Crackshot? Because if somebody wants to go with the 4, that could be their demise.
4 to 5 on Crackshot from post 4 with Jose Ortiz back aboard. Got that maiden score last out. 2nd and 3rd place finishers behind him would come back to win out of that effort. There he is. in those pink silks of Double O Racing Stable. Race goes through him. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Just a few left to load here as 3 Outlaws and Joel Rosario take their position in the starting gate, leaving just Constant Night and Bourbon Mission to complete the line here. Bourbon Mission stepping forward and going in. They are all in line. They're off. Very even start here. There goes Ricken from the inside. Out for the early lead. Crack Shot goes with Ricken early, but Ricken's a half length in front. Break of another 2 lengths to Bourbon Mission, then Mystical Song on the inside. Right behind them, 3 Outlaws is 5th. Constant Night is alongside of Joe's Bold Cat at the back of the pack. It is Ricken in front, Crack Shot well off the rail in second, and racing about a half length off the lead, and now making a move for the front. And there goes Crack Shot right by Ricken as they head for the far turn. The pace is really hot here. 21.26 quarter, and Crack Shot has taken charge. Ricken is now a length and a half behind, and then it's Bourbon Mission running in third by another 2.5 lengths. They're being followed by 3 Outlaws on the outside, and then it's Mystical Song as they turn for home, and Crack Shot is taken on once again by Ricken. Crack Shot on the inside. Ricken is now a length and a half behind, but here comes Bourbon Mission, and here comes 3 Outlaws too. They're both trying to come and get Crack Shot, who's opened up once again. Bourbon Mission's running him on the outside, and here comes Bourbon Mission, right on by Crack Shot. 3 Outlaws closing into second. Bourbon Mission to win. 3 Outlaws got second. Crack Shot ended up third, and then it was Joe's Bold Cat.
Bourbon Mission runs down Crack Shot. They were flying early in this race, and Jose Ortiz made a bold early move to try and overtake Ricken.
We talked about the break. The break was the key for 2 different horses. The 8 got everything that he wanted. He actually broke. He sat in a wonderful position in third, and he had the 1 do the dirty work for him. Ricken, Crack Shot ran a monster race in here. 21-2, had to chase that. You could tell that Jose Ortiz was looking back, was able to put the 1 away, and for a split second, you're looking at the 8 going, oh, is the 8 really going to go by? And he finally does. I'll tell you what, 3 Outlaws got taken back and ran a bang-up race. It was all over the racetrack with Joel Rosario. It was a tiny bit green, but also ran a bang-up race. But don't take anything away from the winner. I think Crack Shot ran well, but Bourbon Mission finally got a good start. And we talked about this, Greg, if this horse could break with the field. Horse has got a ton of talent. Broke right and on the gate with the nose. And a Mission Impossible, son of Mission Impossible, gets it done. And Joe Sharp, another winner here.
1:07.2, by the way. Final time. That is flying as Bourbon Mission gets the job done. It's his first win on turf. He was working huge coming in. And the son of Mission Impossible with the victory here is a 4-5 favorite, defeated 13-1 shot at second in here. 8-6-4-5 finish.
Pretty good claim, right? Claimed this horse for $25,000 from the Todd Pletcher barn. And then went sprinting on the turf and back-to-back thirds and just needed to get the gate issues solved. And a good job by Joe and good job by Irad. And horse got out of the gate. Last one, the load probably helped, but maybe we'll give this son of Mission Impossible, like I was saying, some confidence because I think this horse has got a ton of talent. He hasn't really tapped it yet. He's always put himself behind the 8 ball. Today, you saw what you saw, 107 and change. Wow.
Prices from this one coming up. Our feature race is next. 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs in the Joseph A. Jimma. But here in the 6th, Bourbon Mission. It's his first win here on turf. Running down Crack Shot for the victory. We'll be back.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
dashing fall, and she's too good. She wins the Longines Just a Game.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. On the track, Orb continues to add winners. And in the sales ring, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $250,000 in 2019. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Well, the 6th race, it's in the books, and it went to Bourbon Mission here with Irad Ortiz aboard. And Irad, a horse that sometimes doesn't necessarily like to break. You had the outside post today, and boy, you got a nice setup as far as the speed was concerned out in front of you.
Yes, I mean, he's been running 5.5 too. It's a little too short for him, and Saratoga, we all break out of there running, and it was a little complicated for him. First time running on the grass for Joe was for Joe Sharp. Got a little trouble. He's finished. He run good. Then I thought he was gonna be tough next time. He broke a little bad out of the gate, and he still can make a good run. I said, man, when he touched this, I wanna ride him in 6 furlongs at Belmont. I can't wait. And finally today worked out good.
It did just that. He really came running with big strides. But Ira, we missed you here last weekend, but you were a busy man as you rode some pretty nice horses, some young 2-year-olds. First, let's talk about Dennis's moment down at Churchill in the Iroquois. I mean, that was as easy as they come.
It's a nice horse. I just want to say thanks to Dale Romans for letting me ride the horse and the owners. And my agent do a great job. And it's a nice horse. He acting really good. He break. He just take me the whole way. And when I asked him to run, he was there for me. Looked like a nice horse. Hopefully stay sound and healthy.
Also, I read up at Woodbine in the Summer Stakes, Decorated Invader, another easy victory. You're really excited about this horse as he'll look to move on to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. I rode him first time and he finished second. Going a slow pace, swing him out. You know, I was really wild and he still finished second. A little green. Then I can rode it next start because I was in riding bricks and mortar Arlington, in the Arlington Million. And so I talked to the trainer. I just don't want to lose the horse, and thanks God worked out to put me back on the horse. And it's a really nice horse. I really like him from first day I rode him.
That's getting on your hands and knees and doing a little please, please, please. But you'll also be aboard of Christophe Clement trainee coming up next in the Joseph A. Jimin Irish Danzig. She was really impressive first time out. I read also looked as though while she won by 6+ lengths, you saved a little bit in the tank.
Yeah, she's a nice filly, and that day she do everything right. So let's see today, first timer. It's really hard to do everything like the way she did it, and we like her. Let's see today what happened.
All right, Ira. Well, best of luck. Congratulations on that big weekend last time and here and today.
Thank you very much.
All right, Ira Ortiz. He'll maybe look to take down Fierce Lady coming up in just a few minutes, Greg.
Such a talented young rider, and yeah, he's on a filly who is right now even money. Here we're going to see in our feature race coming up next. Irish Dancing, so impressive in that debut. We'll get to that in a moment. Bourbon Mission, $7.70 for the win, and finishes 8-6-4 in race number 6.
Congratulations, son of Mission Impossible out of the More Than Ready Mare, More Than the Beauty, and there's your late pick 5 follow along, and you had to get to the 10 in race number 4, and then it's been a little bit chalky. And, you know, getting back to Maggie talking to Irad, who we're talking about Irish Danzig, who he's going to be riding here. And it's going to be big. You know, he rode Decorated Invader, and Fame to Famous in the last race got beat by Decorated Invader. He's going to be a heavy favorite in race number 8. So we'll see what happens there, but he gave Bourbon Mission a masterful ride in race number 6.
Feature race, Joseph A. Jim, a 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs. Javier Castellano on board the morning line favorite in there. There's Fierce Lady rematch with Time Limit. They're facing off for the 3rd time in just 8 weeks, but of course they both got to deal with Irish Dancing now in this spot. For Fierce Lady and her pilot, Javier Castellano, for 4 consecutive years, he was voted the nation's most outstanding jockey. It was quite a run for the Hall of Famer. The man responsible for where he is today originally tried to talk him out of sitting in the saddle. Here's another edition of I Am.
I'm Javier Castellano.
Noses apart, cloud computing. So it is Javier Castellano getting the Preakness.
And I'm a jockey. I really like to be jockey. It's in my blood. My father was a jockey for 25 years. Love this sport, but the one thing my father, he don't want me to be jockey. It's a dangerous sport and a lot of sacrifices, and he changed his mind. He decided to help me up. He wanted me to finish high school in my country, Venezuela. My father was the biggest influence in my career, my life. It's my idol, and it's something I always look up for. One of my biggest wins in my career could be Ghost Hopper, 2004. He won the British Cup Classic.
And Ghost Hopper is pulling away impressively. And a pumped-up Javier Castellano. They have soundly defeated Roses in May. This was a no doubt about it winner.
He put me in the map. He put me basically another level. Very successful, winning 4 Clis Awards back-to-back. I think it's pretty amazing.
And here on the far outside comes Keen Ice with a light red. American Pharoah put away Frosted. He has to deal with Keen Ice. Keen Ice has got him. Keen Ice has won the Travers over American Pharoah in a dramatic upset.
I always looking for target in my life, always looking for goal. I've been very lucky, fortunate, to ride the best horse in the country. A lot of support, the biggest trainer in the country, the biggest owners and the races. I've been very fortunate, you know. I've been working hard for many years for try to enjoy this moment right now. To be inducted to the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's something any athlete and any sport is looking for that big level, you know. Thought, you know, and soon or later it's gonna come, but I didn't expect it that quick. To be father with 3 kids and my family, be part of my family, is a great moment in my life, you know. Spend the time with them, spend the Monday, Tuesday, my dark day off, and spend it with them and play baseball with the little boy and my girl, they play tennis. It's amazing. My wife should be in support in my career. Amazing, because if without her, I think it would be nobody in charge. You know, I think it's one part of my success in my career, to be married with my wife and with the 3 kids. I think that helped me to motivate in my career.
He's an incredible talent. He had a tremendous Saratoga, and he's on board the filly who was the morning line favorite in our feature race. Coming up, she'll have the outside post. She's more experienced than the highly touted Irish Dancing, the 4. She does have multiple wins as well. We'll see what happens. She has options from that outside post.
Yeah, she does. She didn't get out of the gate well in her last start at 6-5, but she broke in tight and was able to overcome that and was able to beat Time Limit, who's your 2 today. On this day was your horse on the rail, and they went down to the wire, and I thought this was a very good race, and Castellano just gave this horse such a great ride, because after she got left, he didn't really panic. He just sort of settled with her and sort of stayed wide, and she really was much the best. She got beat by My Italian Rabbi the time before that in a bad bob, so she deserved that win in the Seeking the Indy.
So 2 wins in 3 starts. The only defeat, beat a nose against the talented My Italian Rabbi, is basically a 1-5 favorite that day. 9-5 on the board currently, but this is the filly who is on the rise here. Her debut effort, she was 4-1 for Christophe Clement this summer at Saratoga, and she won handily, eased up in that final 16th.
Yeah, she was dynamite in her first start. She did everything right. She broke like a bullet in a 10-horse field and just went right to the front end, basically settled off the 2-horse in here and just went on with it with pretty light urging. You know, I read Ortiz hit her left-handed a couple times. You could see him look to his right, and then it was night-night. This is a filly by Danza, like I said, out of a Cactus Ridge mare, but you can see she is running, and her legs are moving like they're just like, I don't know, crazy legs it looks like. She jogged on that day, and she was 4.5 to 1 in a 10-horse field, and I would think she's well meant. Come back with some monster work so far since she's come back that win up at Saratoga.
She is the even money favorite here in start number 2. Crowd, youngsters enjoying this Wednesday action here, kicking off a new week here at Belmont. Our feature race still to come. We're going to have the post parade when we return. We'll be back. More coming up on America's Day at the Races next.
Go from Railbird to Winner Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Flatter. This prolific son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, he's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. In the auction ring, his yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Cleveland Farm.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
You know, I think Run Happy has a lot of things going for him. Obviously, he's been very respected, and to, you know, to give people further incentive to buy them for where they can take an offspring, run it, and if they win, they're going to get a $100,000 bonus for each Run Happy they have. You know, it's another selling point from our perspective that really helps us promote the horses that we're representing and we're selling.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're into the stretch. Cartwheel and Lulu, Party Like Grandma. To the outside comes She's Trouble. And splitting horses too, Elegant Zip is coming on. And on the far outside, it's More Mischief. It's still wide open here. Cartwheel and Lulu clings to the lead on the inside. Elegant Zip, here comes She's Trouble and More Mischief. And they're coming down to the line. And Cartwheel and Lulu held them all off to win.
Masterclass ride by Hall of Famer John Velasquez in last year's edition of the Joseph A. Jimmo with Cartwheel and Lulu. She won for Jeremiah Englehart as he looks to sweep back-to-back editions of this race, this time around with Thea's Theme. As we will take a look, though, at your current favorite to start things off. That is number 4 in here, Irish Danzig, for this feature race. Christophe Clement sending out this second-time starter as she was incredibly impressive in her debut, drawing off and winning by 6.5 lengths under wraps and within the last 16th of a mile by Irad Ortiz, who's back aboard here once again. And this kind of time in the year with these 2-year-olds, you hit the turning point of which horses are those ones that they're very good 2-year-olds, and maybe that's all they're going to be. And then you look at the ones that might go on and be really something as the distances progress, as the competition gets a bit stiffer. And I feel like Irish Danzig is the one that's going to step forward. I think she has the physical size and mental maturity to handle the 7 furlongs at second asking. She'll get that extra furlong here, and I like her. She's very classy acting as well for Christophe Clement. I think she will be tough. But let's take a look at the most accomplished runner in the field, and that's number 6, Fierce Lady, as she was jaw-droppingly impressive in her debut. She, numbers-wise, hasn't quite matched that since then, but still, she's shown resilience. And even going back when she had gone to the sale the week before, the connections were really on the fence about running her. They did, and she was beaten by My Italian Rabbi, who she came back and beat. Then My Italian Rabbi wheeled back at Finger Lakes and won the Lady Finger for Jeremiah Engelhardt. Look, Fierce Lady, she also showed a new dimension in her last race that she can rate. She's on the outside today. I think that's a favorable post position for her. She looks great in here. Her weight's back where it needs to be. Her hindquarters look really strong. But is she a horse that, does she get better as the distances get longer? Her last race hinted that she might be okay getting the 7 furlongs, as we'll take a look at another second-time starter, though, and that's number 5, Naked Avenger, who broke her maiden in the slop first time out at Saratoga. She did it in the right kind of fashion, too, in that she stalked from off the pace, and if there is some sort of pace meltdown, I think she could be sitting in the right position to pounce upon that. Once again, she's very relaxed in the paddock here. She looks great for trainer Tim Hills. If anything, she's a bit more tucked up and a bit more fit as I send it back up to you guys upstairs. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. 4-5 now on Irish Dancing, and this is projection, obviously, but she showed us a ton. But she's going to have to get by this one, who's more experienced, is a multiple winner, and is already a stakes winner.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and a lot of people are dismissing the 2-time limit as well, and without the bad stumble, you could put her in the same, I guess, conference or the same, sentence as the 6, Fierce Lady, and they're taking a horse off a maiden win at 4-5. I'm a little surprised. I thought the 6 would be your favorite, but the 4 is your favorite in doubles, but is your second choice when it comes to the pick 3s.
All right, so here comes our post parade. We kick off with Ilchester Cheetah, and I actually thought this horse ran very good first time out. Broke like an absolute rocket and held off a $425,000 Daughter of American Pharaoh for Graham Motion.
Yeah, won at 13.5 to 1. They were 4.5 lengths clear of a horse called Wonder Cat. Debut gets Lasix for her second start.
8-1 time limit. Manny Franco, Mike Maker.
This is the value here. This filly by Bustin' Stones has really done nothing wrong to deserve to be 8-1 in this field.
Just missed against Fierce Lady last time out. Thea's Theme. Jeremiah Engelhardt beat her stablemate, who would come back and win next out.
And very tough to win at 6.5 furlongs first time out, but she's getting dismissed at the windows today.
The 4-5 favorite, Irish Dancing, 6.5 length winner, geared down late in that win.
Yeah, filly by Danza. Her father was very good, ran a tremendous Kentucky Derby, and this horse was brilliant first time out. Now she has to prove herself second time.
Naked Avenger. Now her debut race, she beat a filly who was actually making her second start and was third in a stakes race in her debut against My Italian Rabbi.
Here's the thing about Naked Avenger. She's the one horse that sort of won off the pace and had to pass horses. Other horses got left and showed their speed, but it was on a sloppy racetrack. If she can answer the fast racetrack, she could be the horse they're going to all have to hold off late.
And Fierce Lady, Dermot Magner, Javier Castellano for Nice Guys Stables, and Steve Hornstock.
She was brilliant last time in the Seeking the Ante. She got dead left, and she sort of circled the field and settled, and she beat time limit to 2 here right on the square. And I think if the public's thinking if she breaks better, she's way better than the 2, and that might be the case.
8-5. Let's head downstairs and get more from Maggie Wolfendale.
I'm pleased to be joined by some co-owners of Fierce Ladies, Steve Hornstock and Steve Spellman, on either side of me. And Steve H., we'll start with you as Fierce Lady. Take us back to that debut. I mean, I still can't get over it. It was probably one of the most impressive 2-year-old performances I've seen all year.
We agree with you. We were like, wow. She kept widening, and it just was great. You never know. That's horse racing.
Now, Steve, that is also why you guys decided to take her to the Horses in Training sale down in Kentucky. I know I have to ask you guys, but I know, but she didn't bring the reserve you were looking for.
Yeah, so we decided to just keep her and race her, and she came back under difficult circumstances, and she still ran really well. I mean, we were proud of her, and then came back the next race and really showed what she's about, and we're hoping she does that again today.
Now, obviously, there's always a little bit of trepidation when you start getting these longer distances, but it felt like last time she answered every question. Now she only has to get another half a furlong.
That's right. And she had trouble out of the gate last time. She was banged and squeezed a little bit, and we were concerned that she wouldn't rate, and she rated. So we feel like she's a racehorse.
I think she is, guys. As I mean, only a nose defeat from being undefeated, but also see, she's also posted to the outside. That has to make you feel pretty confident too.
We're really happy with the post position, and you know, we think she's going to put her best effort forward today.
She looked it in the paddock, guys. Well, wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. You guys do a great job.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Ambassadors for the sport, and I appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
We all really appreciate that. Thanks. It's a love fest down here. That's why they're the nice guys table, right?
Living up to their name. We'll see if they can get the W now coming up.
I'd like to say thank you to them. I appreciate that. Nice guy stables.
It's very nice, right?
Hey, listen. You can always use a friend, right?
Why are you looking at me?
You used to be my friend.
I'm there for you always.
Oh,
you know
thank you.
that.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Sometimes you need to check.
Okay. Just checking in. 8 to 5. What do you think? I like the fact that she's a little more experienced, and it looks like she does not have to have the lead to win either.
I'm surprised, to be honest. Listen, I know I singled the 4, a lot of buzz in the works in the morning, but you can't. Experience wins over. I get the 4 was brilliant first time out, and I do think she's a special filly, but I'm surprised that they're this far apart. I thought they'd be around pretty close, 6-5, 6-5, somewhere in that area, because like Maggie was saying, she's a nose away from being undefeated. That's tough to do, a 3-time winner almost. To a horse that just only won first time out against a bunch of other maidens. Now, I get it. She won in very, very impressive style, but this horse here, the 3, do you give this horse any chance at 15-1? You do get Jose Ortiz, the 3.
I mean, you know how I feel about these races. And it's not like anyone ran an out-of-this-world, jaw-dropping performance. It was nice. You know, these 2-year-old fillies can improve leaps and bounds. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see any of these fillies step forward.
You know, Critical Value came back to win next time out. Look how far clear they are of the third-place finisher.
Got a 70 buyer in the next out win, by the way.
Yeah, and I think showed guts. Like, if you watch on the gallop, I was never going to go by. That one win might be better than it looked. Could be the sneaky horse, but your second longest shot, you're getting right now currently 15-1 on this filly by Bayern. It's an interesting race, really is. Like I said, I'm surprised that the maiden, or those who just broke the maiden for Kristoff, is 4-5. But all the buzz on this filly right here.
And it's a different racetrack.
No, I get it. I get it.
Not to say that she can't handle it.
But like you said, like I've said this multiple times, we're all on the 4. I feel like she's the most talented. Like I thought in the last race, I thought the 8 was the most talented. She ended up winning. We got the perfect setup. But you still got a lot of things to answer here. The horse has been training at Saratoga. And here's the crazy part. The horse was training over the Belmont training track. Then went to Saratoga, trained there. The race was on August 29th. You know, it's September 18th. So the other part about this is they're bringing this horse back pretty quickly off that debut win. 3 weeks for a 2-year-old. Now, that could be somewhat of a knock you could bring back where Fierce Lady's getting, what, 6 or 7 days more rest, and so is time limit. But, like, the way this filly's getting played, she must be working lights out in the morning because the 2 and 6 got both good resumes.
Well, the Fierce, or time limit, I should say, here we're looking at. Look, she had things her own way last time out, and Fierce Lady came and got her, and she's going to have company up front. It's going to be a lot more difficult task, I think, for time limit today.
I get it, but she's still got 3 races under her belt, Greg. So I just think I'm not saying that she can win this race, but yeah, she's going to have some extra pressure. Maybe Manny Franco takes her back today, but she's got 3 races under her belt. And Fierce Lady, I mean, she's got a race here at Belmont where she ran an 87 buyer first time out. And so Irish Dancing's going to have to run here today. We'll see what she's made of.
Start number 2 for the 4 filly, Daughter of Danza for Christophe Clement. Rad Ortiz Jr. looking to go back-to-back here after winning on Bourbon Mission back in race number 6. And we saw Irish Dancing, and there she is, sit just off the leaders early in that debut. Can she be more forwardly placed, or is she going to take that same kind of position that we saw in that debut effort?
I think she sits and stalks. I think she can. She's got that long stride, and maybe that's why the public's all over her today. Wow, she's really still getting hammered.
It's our feature race. Joseph A. Jimma, Irish Dancing. Start number 2 in her stakes debut coming up. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Last couple to move into line here. Naked Avenger about to move into the starting gate. And a big odds shift just occurring as Fierce Lady has gone down to 3-5. Irish Dancing up to 3-2. As Fierce Lady comes up to complete the line, they're all in line. They're off in the Joseph A. Jimma. And it is Irish Dancing with the best beginning. There goes Time Limit to grab the lead from her on the inside, and Time Limit to the front. Naked Avenger is right there running in third by 2. Thea's Theme is fourth. Fierce Lady outside of her in fifth. And Ilchester Cheetah is the trailer. So it's Time Limit in front. The leader by 3/4 of a length over Irish Dancing. Naked Avenger is third to their outside as they go past this opening quarter mile in 22.82 seconds. Fierce Lady is side by side with Thea's Theme. And 3 from the front. Ilchester Cheetah is last of them all. So they make their way around the far turn. There's a half mile to go. Time Limit the leader. Irish Dancing right alongside Fierce Lady. She's moving now, and she's moving 3 wide on the far turn. Then Thea's Theme, Naked Avengers under a ride, Ilchester Cheetah at the back of the pack. Time Limit on the inside. Irish Dancing between. Fierce Lady comes up to their outside. They went 45.8 for a half, and the 3 of them turn for home. Time Limit cuts the corner. Fierce Lady comes 3 wide. Irish Dancing between those 2, and they're into the stretch, and it's Fierce Lady and Irish Dancing. And Fierce Lady is taken off here. Fierce Lady is opened up by 2. Irish Dancing is second. Naked Avenger is putting an elite bid on the far outside. Time Limit is back to 4th. Here comes Naked Avenger down the center of the track right by Fierce Lady. And in a big upset, Naked Avenger wins the Joseph A. Jimma. Fierce Lady was second. Irish Dancing was third. And Time Limit was 4th.
Naked Avenger comes and gets Fierce Lady, who was very erratic in the stretch in green, despite making her 4th start here.
Yeah, and it's again, she did not break well, and Javier Castellano made a 3 wide move and got the job done. And I had said in the post parade, this was the one horse that really was able to settle and close first time out, but it was over a sloppy racetrack. She's on the wrong lead. She's greeny as she can be. And if you can hear the people yelling behind us, those are the people going to the winner's circle as they are going nuts. But Luis Saez, this horse never went to her right lead. She just finally just takes off. And Tim Hill's so underrated with his 2-year-olds. Had this horse at Monmouth Park, and she's going to cause another upset. She was 9.5 to 1 first time out, 16 to 1, and they came with their red jackets.
This is the group that was, we heard screaming behind us here, and they are excited with a stakes win here in the Joseph A. Jimma with a horse who only had 1 start on her resume, a maiden score at Saratoga on a sloppy track too, so they didn't even know what to expect her in this fast going. Beat an accomplished runner for a 2-year-old filly, at least to this point, in Fierce Lady.
Ran right by her, really did, and Luis Saez did a good job of, not trying to correct her, not worrying about the leads, knowing that she's already got the favorite at 3-5 who got hit late right before Larry Colmus called it. And I had said something to Greg. I'm like, wow, somebody just bet a lot of money on the 6 at 3-5, and that had to be a torturous stretch drive to watch. As you can see, look at her ears, still green, and wow, wanting more. And now this is a filly by Congrats. It's got some kind of future. To win at Saratoga on the slop the way she did, to do what she did today, and you could tell that she really is like still starting to grow up here. And like I said, Tim Hill's such an underrated trainer, gets the job done. Wow.
Daughter of Congrats, and I mean, this final margin, 2+ lengths?
Easy. I mean, she was running hard. You looked at me in mid-stretch, she goes, holy cow, the 5's gonna win. And I looked at you, I'm like, she is, because our TV's sort of glitched over here on the right side to Greg and I, and in that blink of that glitch, she was by everybody, and Louis was able to keep her straight, even though she was still looking all over the place. But this is a filly that has a future right here.
Yeah, never even got onto the correct lead.
No, she's still green. And you could see, did you see her put her ears up? Like, where are we going? What's going on? The race was over. Do I still need to keep on going? Like, she's still trying to figure things out, and she's 2 for 2 with a nice little stakes win.
What a performance. Naked Avenger with still a lot of room to grow. She's now undefeated. Perfect 2 for 2. She's got a stakes win on her resume. And Luis Saez, yeah, he was not done yet, apparently. Still is going to ride the favorite coming up in the nightcap. We'll be back. More coming up on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned.
Piranha, the leader in fly control and wipe and spray products, now has premium equine grooming products. Introducing Aloe Pro Shampoo, an organic concentrate enriched with vitamins A, D, and E, and silk protein. Piranha Detangler, a dry comb-through detangling spray that conditions, moisturizes, keeping tail and mane manageable. And Shine Baby Shine, a water-based coat conditioner that leaves a show ring shine every time. Visit PiranhaEat.com to see our full line of equine products, and for a limited time, use promo code NYRA to receive a 10% discount on your order. Piranha on, pests gone.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Run Happy was a really nice racehorse. The biggest attribute that I see about him is the way he stamps his foals. You know, they got big, pretty walks on them. They got good hips and shoulders. Very pretty to look at. And, you know, the real strong hind leg. You know, everything that you're looking for as a racehorse. You know, that's what impresses me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Bit of an upset in today's feature race here on America's Day at the Races. The Joseph A. Jimma goes to Naked Avenger at 16-1, conditioned here by Tim Hills, who I'm pleased to be joined by, well, in the podium after he received the trophy, of course, for this stakes race. And Tim, talk us through the trip that she pulled here beneath Luis Saez. She broke well, and then she dropped back on the turn, and all of a sudden, here she comes again.
Well, she had done that a little bit in her first race, but that was so long ago. It was a maiden race, and they were saying that she was lucky to win because of the favorite being out of the money, running erratically. But she came out of the race with her game face on. Her breezes at Monmouth on the track's real deep there. She was breezing really well. She does respond very well to the whip. And that's the only thing I really told Louie is remember pointing to the whip that she likes it, and she does, which is kind of unusual for a filly, but she's really improved dramatically.
That she has with this big win, especially going the 7 furlongs, stretching out from the 5.5, kind of total different scenario as well with a fast track.
Yeah, and, you know, she's got a real long stride, and congrats, her sire can do about anything. So not totally surprised. I knew she needed to improve, but she has improved with her training. So.
Well, it looks like the future's bright, and also the ownership group very excited here in the winner's circle. We could hear them from up the track as T&J Stables and Headless Horseman. How pleased are you for them?
Oh, it's great for them because they're little guys and chip in to buy small pieces of a horse just for the love of it, and they've been doing it now for about 15 years. I haven't trained for him I've trained for Tom Swales for forever. He's the greatest, but Randy DiPolo and the Headless Horseman got back in, and so we're having fun.
It sounds like it. A lot more fun after this big win with Naked Avenger. Tim, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
All right, I'm going to let Tim run. He's got to make it all the way back down to Monmouth now, but huge win here for the connections of Naked Avenger. Greg?
What a moment, what a big win.
You know, it
and
is.
To have not just get a stakes win like this, but to have the hope of a filly who could be any kind.
No, I'm with you, and I guess the Naked Avenger would just have a red jacket on, and that's it. 16-1. We'll get the job done. Like they were saying, a filly by congrats. I have a Wildcat air mare, Carmageddon. I remember I used to bet her all the time. And she beats Fierce Lady. This blows up to pick 4 and pick 5 for you. and congratulations to them. They got a nice filly here, and Tim Hills has done a great job with her. And I like the way she finished. She learns a little bit more. When her ears were up, she actually changed leads when she hit the line, which is crazy. I think she wants even more distance.
This is the Pick 5, how it's played along so far, played out to this point. 163,000 plus in the pool. Started out with a $38 horse. Now a $34 winner, where we had a 3 to 5 favorite beat?
Yeah, yeah.
So here we go in the final leg coming up. Mile on the Turf, New York bred, or restricted maiden special weight, I should say. And Fame to Famous looks like he's going to be pretty tough to beat here in the spot. He's going to have the rail. He's coming out of a race in which Decorated Invader would go on to win a stakes race.
Yeah, and that's the key. When you see Decorated Invader, the horse to beat, $7,000 plus in that Pick 5, about $8,000 plus to get smoking. The 2 and the 4 are heavy favorites in all the multiples when it comes to Pick 4s and Pick 5s. Although the 7 and the 10, the 2 first-time starters are not getting completely dismissed at the window.
Live coverage from Churchill Downs coming up Thursday through Sunday on our show, including Kofefe back in action in the Dogwood. Had that incredible stretch stool with Serengeti Empress, the Kentucky Oaks winner, to win the test this summer at Saratoga. We'll see her back in action in Louisville coming up on America's Day at the Races this weekend. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Nightcap coming up.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. With Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad, Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the sales ring, his $2.4 million sale topper at Keeneland September was the highest price yearling sold in North America last year. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. The dramatic finish. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Into the final furlong of the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, and Classic Empire wins it in style.
Here's the wire. Classic Empire. He's a champion 2-year-old. Here's the champ. Classic Empire. Classic Empire.
It's America's original sport. And no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle. The best races, horses, and destination venues. Cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
He's the best. He's done it started out 5,000. I think Bernie was doing deals on him for 2-for-1s and even doing deals down to 2,500 just to try and get him going. He's done it the hard way. You know, he had West Coast 3-year-old champion. He's really raised to the top of the stallion ranks. He stands for 40,000 now, and you know, he's getting a little up there in age. If he wasn't so old, he would stand for more. But we breed him to a limited book. We're trying to increase his longevity, but he's really been a great asset to the farm.
He's very good to be around. He's got very good personality. He's the oldest horse down here. He's 20 years old now, and spoiled pretty bad. He loves his peppermints. You feed him one, then he'll start pawing the ground for more, and he'll keep doing that until you have to walk away. He's you know, started out slow, but now he went from $5,000 all the way up to $40,000 stud fee. He's just an easy-going horse, probably one of the easiest going horses down here. He's been around here for a long time, so he's settled in real good.
Oldest stallion on the farm at Claiborne, and we have a son of Flatter. We're going to see here in our nightcap coming up, King of American, who is by Flatter out of a Quiet American mare, is getting on the turf for the first time.
Yeah, I can see this horse getting on the turf and stretching out. One of the things that Reagan does very, very well is turf to dirt and sprint to route. So 3 sprint races, you get a bug boy, and I would think this horse will show a little bit more speed. And the bottom side of the pedigree does have a little bit of turf in there. So big long shot right now at 40-1, but sons of Flatters and daughters of Flatters can run on everything.
Meanwhile, it's the one that everyone's got to beat. This is Fame to Famous, start number 3. So Decorated Invader would beat Fame to Famous last time. He wound up 3rd in the race. Decorated Invader we saw win the Group 1 Summer win, and you're in for the Breeders' Cup at Woodbine on Sunday. Yeah, and was dominant in winning that race. Now here's Fame to Famous. This day, Luis Saez was aboard and runs a good 3rd. In the middle of the racetrack, trying to make a move on Decorated Invader, who's just gone. And, the horse on the inside is just going to outdo him in the blue colors for second, but they're chasing, like you just said, a Grade 1 winner right now. And just gets out Bob for second. I thought it was a very good race. Was caught wide most of the race. Now gets the rail, and that's why you're seeing 6-5. Luis Saez was aboard for that last out effort at Saratoga. He's back on board today. So we'll see. Shortens up from 1 mile and a 16th. Last couple of starts now to this mile distance. We're on the Widener turf course. Gets the inside post, so gets to save ground, too. You don't have to worry about being drawn too far outside here. No, but this is the horse they're going to have to catch. Cleverly named Get Smokin'. Get Stormy the sire out of the Smoke Black and Mare. Hookah Lady. But she's fast. Or he's fast. He, out of the 1 hole, they went 21-3, 45 flat. He was right on the pace. Now he's going to stretch his legs out to 1 mile with Castellano, Tom Bush, 3-1, half that morning line. You can see he is a little bit of a handful already and a little aggressive in the paddock, like he wants to go. And I would think he looks like he's the speed of the speed near. There's some others in here that do want to go, but I don't know if they'll be able to go with Get Smokin'. Let's get a paddock report, head downstairs, check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, Paul, you're right. He's a little fired up in here, which usually I'm a little bit dubious of when horses are trying to get more distance. But the fact of the matter is that physically, he looks like a horse where 1 mile should be perfect for him because he's pretty big and he's pretty long in the back as well. So more ground just feels like a logical step. 2, he is a bit more fit having that 5.5 first debut start under his belt. So hopefully he holds it together. He's pretty fresh. Cool down here. Horses thrive when the weather's like this, so definitely feeling his oats, to say the least. But I do think Get Smokin' is very, very dangerous here, as we'll check in with a horse making his New York debut, and that's number 8, It's Possible. Now, he is listed as a first-time gelding coming into here. Which I suppose does make sense, yes. So, which is good. Last time in that Monmouth race, first time on the turf and stretching out, he was pretty headstrong. And as I've always said, I'd rather a horse just kind of relax on the bit a little bit. And he just did wasted a lot of energy in the first half mile of a race fighting his rider. Now he comes back in here, he definitely looks like a turf horse. Looks as though he should handle the mile because there's some scope to him as well. He's a good-looking individual. I'm intrigued by this horse. I wish, in a way, it was a New York bred race where this is that restricted race to horses who RNA'd or sold for $45,000 or less at public auction. So, like I said, wish it was against New York breds, but we'll see. I think he's very, very intriguing just based upon his appearance here because he's sharp and he looks very fit and well meant to these conditions. Now, there's a few first-time starters, including number 7, Danzig Dunhill, who is by Twirling Candy, but there's really nothing to report by the way of bottom side pedigree other than being out of a dam by Uncle Mo. Not a bad-looking type. Doesn't really have a turf hoof, very, very narrow foot. He's wearing front bandages first time out here for George Weaver. Looks fit. I don't know. He's the one taking the money, too, relative to the first-time starters, where I prefer number 10, Nexus, in here for Danny Gargan. He looks like a turf horse. He has a turf hoof to him. Despite not having that much pedigree, he looks more like a turf horse, to be honest. He's fairly fit in here. He's about 80% of the way fit, but a solid type of runner. So we'll see. He's not taking much money, but between the two, I preferred him, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. And Paulie, you talked earlier, you thought this one scared you. Nexus for Danny Gargan, first timer outside, son of Palace Malice, but it is the 7 who has those big works that maybe the reason this horse is taking money.
Yeah, listen, they both scare me. First of all, the 2 in here, Fame to Famous, I get it, back-to-back 68 buyers. Will this horse improve? But if you look at the Danny Gargan horse, this is the son of Palace Malice. They paid $45,000 for it. Danny's very aggressive. He could have stuck this horse in for 50, some other, 40, maiden 40, and he sticks to a maiden special weight. I think that's a very good sign with this 10, son of Palace Malice. I think it's the same thing with Danzig Dunhill, with George Weaver, a guy that was very, very unlucky at the Saratoga meet with a lot of seconds, a lot of thirds. They paid $42,000 for this son of Twirling Candy. They could have placed him in a maiden 40 or a maiden 50. They did not. So I do think both of the first-time starters are live here.
Kendrick Carmouche. He's always smiling. He'll be on board Nexus, that first-timer from that outside post. 8-1. Post parade here coming up as we are approaching the 7-minute mark to post here to close out this Wednesday afternoon card. Even money on Fame to Famous from the inside slot. Son of Tappet, who has the experience and hit the board last time out against a very good runner and became a Grade 1 winner in his next start. Here's the remaining half of the entry. Just in time for wine, Gary Contessa, Mike Luzzy.
We saw Mike Luzzy win the last race last week, and this is a horse that could be the thorn and get smoke inside, because this horse went 21 and change on the turf 2 back.
The rail to this one, here's Fame to Famous, our even money favorite for Edmund Davis.
Faster they go, better for this son of Tappet, who was actually closing into Decorated Invader, who went up to Canada to win a big race, a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup.
Get Smoke and start number 2 and stretching out after going 5.5 furlongs on the turf at Saratoga.
Yeah, this gelding by Get Stormy for Tom Bush and Javier Castellano. What do? Do they go straight to the front end unless the 1A goes with them early?
5 horse is like you, 12-1 when we get to him. There he is. Son of Distorted Humor for Rudy Rodriguez, taken off the turf in that debut race.
And didn't run bad. And Louis Reyes sticks. This is the son of Distorted Humor. I think this horse can improve. I think this is my long shot play here at 12-1 for Rudy Rod.
Jane Sabelli's numbers coming to New York, not the strongest, but this horse has some upside, I think, out of a Rahi mare, Constitutional Palace at 10-1.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of turf pedigree here on both sides, but the issue is that you're right. The other part is Jane is 0 for 17 with her second-time starters.
Danzig Dunhill, first-timer George Weaver. He can win first time out.
Yeah, and Twirling Candy, amazing, 20% with his first-time starters on most of the surfaces and 14% with first-time turfers. So look at this one.
It's passable, 31-1. Is it?
I think it could be. First-time gelding. We talk about the Mission Impossibles, who we just saw win out of a Pine Bluff mare. Maybe the sneaky one here.
Here's the son of Flatter coming up. 35-1 on the 9, King of America. And there he is. And Heeman Harkey will ride for Randy Prasad.
This horse goes back into restricted company. And now on the turf, going long, trying a lot of different things here. Maybe a big long shot at 36-1.
And the first timer for Danny Gargan, son of Palace Malice, with Kendrick Carmouche aboard Nexus, gets Lasix first out.
Yeah, getting that warm up without the pony, like you would think with Gargan and Carmouche. It usually shows speed, and I would think that this son of Palace Malice will probably blast out of there from the 10 post.
Got the right rider to employ that type of tactics with Kendrick Carmouche. Meanwhile, here's the other first timer, and this is the 7 and the 10, the 2 firsters that are very intriguing in here. Danzig Dunhill, son of Twirling Candy for George Weaver. So Manny Franco on board. And you see the turf work, it came, what, mid-August?
Yeah, mid-August.
At Saratoga?
Yeah, you can see that obviously they had to stop on this gelding a couple times. And he got gelded in between. If you look, he started in June, July 21st, they stopped on him. Then they gelded him. Obviously, it just wasn't going right. And then they started working him at Saratoga. And then August 16th, they got him over the training track over there, over the turf. And they must have liked what they saw. And he's gotten some decent work. Now, he hasn't worked here at Belmont, so the surroundings aren't probably familiar to him, but he's been over the turf course. And like I said, he's been gelded. They were obviously having issues with him in June and July, so he got gelded since then. And maybe that's made the difference.
Approaching the 2-minute mark to post here in our nightcap. Coming up, let's check in with Maggie.
Let's take a look at number 2, Fame to Famous, who does come in here with the best turf numbers and races of anybody, as he's faced some pretty tough customers, including Decorated Invader, now a Grade 1 winner. So he gets quite a distinctive class relief here, dropping into this restricted maiden special weight to those horses who were bought or RNA'd for $45,000 or less. As I've said, this condition that is new this year just really provides a nice outlet for horses and owners and people who campaign these horses, a nice little outlet for them to compete for the higher purses for the horses that maybe didn't sell for that much, and kind of, you don't have to face those $1 million purchases. As Fame to Famous, he's taken a little while to get fit. He's also not a very easy horse to ride, as Luis Saez was trying to hold him from lugging in last time. He didn't break well. So on and so forth. He can be his own worst enemy. He's going to have to break from the inside again, but I will say that finally on his 3rd start, he's the most fit that I've seen this son of Tappet out of the stakes winning mare Acetique, who was one of my favorite horses. She was campaigned a couple years ago by Michael Matz. And we'll take a look too at number 6, Constitutional Pal. Jane Sibeli, as you guys were saying, doesn't have the greatest numbers with her Naira shippers, but this horse by Constitution, we've seen what they've done as far as his dirt sprinters up at Saratoga, but he has had 2 turf winners so far in his freshman crop. The Dam was a good turf sprinter, and the other sibling won on the turf as well, going longer. So this horse does very much have a turf look to him. As an individual, I can't necessarily endorse him. He's not one that's that appeasing to the eye. He's a little bit of a lighter framed, kind of meager looking type, but he could really translate well to the turf here as Chris DiCarlo does pick up the ride. Now, remember how I said I prefer the 10 over the 7 as far as the first-time starters? Well, that flip-flopped once I watched them warm up. I know Kendrick took him away from the pony, and yeah, that's good to do, and maybe he'll move better over the turf, but I did not love the way this horse warmed up. Just as far as his stride length, he really doesn't have much stride length whatsoever. So that's just something that I'd rather see a little bit more of, which he was lacking, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. So 11-1 on Nexus and some negatives there.
Yeah.
For Maggie.
Yeah, and it's not a good sign. We saw Jorge Abreu horse a little bit earlier act out and won. But you just never know. But that's never a really good sign. Wow, 3-5 now on Fame to Famous. And I can see it. I understand. I thought that he could be odds on in here. He's run 2 very good races against a lot of horses that you need to project to move up an awful lot to beat him. So, yeah, I thought Get Smoking could be one of them, the 4, and I think that's what the public thinks. And the 7 and the 10 are just unknowns. So,
I mean, look, he's dropping to. I mean, he was in open maidens. This is a restricted maiden.
She's right. What Maggie said was completely right. I mean, this are restricted. I mean, this is a whole different ball game. That's why I thought the 5 was an interesting horse. The horse on the screen was an off-the-turf event against Open Company. I thought ran okay against Flute Maker. I know that if it was only a field of 8. This horse got some pedigree. Distorted Humor better on the turf. The second Dam actually won a couple races on the turf for over 90 buyers. So there's some potential with the 5 at 13-1. That's my long shot horse.
Luis Reyes will ride, waiting patiently to load here. 3-5 favoritism to that horse right there. The 2 horse stepping in with the rail. Fame to Famous, start number 3 here, and they'll drop down in class. Not likely facing any decorated invaders in here.
True, very true.
So will that make the difference for him this afternoon? We're about to find out. We'll send it upstairs. Our nightcap here on this Wednesday afternoon from Belmont Park. Here's the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown. For the call, Larry Colmus.
Just in time for Wine has moved into the starting gate. Now it's Possible steps up. Like You will be next, going in with King of American. And that'll leave Nexus to be the last one to load here. Nexus and Kendra Carmouche coming up to the starting gate to complete the line. 4 to 5 right now on Fame to Famous. Nexus is in, and they're all in line. They're off. Fame to Famous came out near the back of the field. A good beginning for Get Smokin' and Just in Time for Wine. And it's these two that kick on and lead it by 2.5. Constitutional Palace away running in third. Like You is fourth. And then comes Fame to Famous, who broke near the back and is now 7 lengths off the lead. It's Possible is next, and then comes Nexus. The trailers are Dancing, Dunhill, and King of American. So up the backstretch and out here winging is Just in Time for Wine. Ran a 22.03 quarter and has opened up a 5-length lead. Get Smokin' is second by 3. Constitutional Pal is third. Then it's Fame to Famous on the inside of Like You. It's Possible outside of them. They're 7 lengths behind and 2 in front of Dancing Dunhill. Nexus and King of American trail the field as they make their way into the far turn. A 45.56 half for Just in Time for Wine, whose lead is 2 lengths over Get Smokin'. As the field rounds the far turn, Fame to Famous is in third. Then Constitutional Pal, Like You. On the outside of them, It's Possible and Dancing Dunhill. Now making a move through on the inside and now coming off the rail as they come toward the top of the stretch. Get Smokin' draws up alongside of Just in Time for Wine. Fame to Famous right behind them. And Dancing Dunhill swings up on the far outside. They're into the stretch. Get Smokin' to the front. Get Smokin' has opened up a 2-length lead here. Dancing Dunhill on the outside and Fame to Famous battling for second. It's Get Smokin'. Get Smokin' and Javier Castellano coming under the wire in front. Fame to Famous was second best. Then came Dancing Dunhill, and Just in Time for Wine held fourth.
Get Smokin', second time out with Javier Castellano back aboard, wins for the Tom Busch Barn.
Great job by Javier Castellano. Get this filly to settle. I wish we could go back to the beginning of this race. He won the race in the first quarter because the 1A and Mike Luzzi were intent on getting to the front end. And I don't blame him. This turf course is paying very, very fast. But Castellano decided, you know what? I can't do this because I'm committing suicide if I go at Mike right now. And the 1A ended up running off on Mike. But here's the deal. The 1A still ran a decent fourth in here. But what Castellano did so well, he was able to ease him out of there very, very quickly out of the gate. Now watch this out of the gate. Watch Mike's horse just have more speed. And you can see that Castellano's pushing towards the front. Let's see what I got. He looks to his outside. He's like, you know what? Let me back out of here immediately. And he did. There was no hesitation. It wasn't. He didn't push his horse out at all. Stopped. Let the 1A go. Got his horse into a comfortable stride. Now you can see Mike's horse is starting to run off on him a little bit. And what does Javier sort of do? He sort of acted like Mike's horse wasn't really there, Greg, and acted like he was in front and was very, very confident. You always could see the 2, your favorite, was struggling because the 7 was traveling very well, the first-time starter. But no doubt about your winner, Get Smokin'.
Javier, Tom Busch, and a 7-2 shot beats a 4-5 favorite in the nightcap. We'll tell you what all that means for the late pick 5 when we come back here on America's Day at the Races. Hall of Famer closes out this Wednesday card with a victory. Prices when we return. Stick with us. More coming up right after this.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify.
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
What I like best about Run Happy Sire, he showed so much brilliance to win the grade ones that he won, different racetracks, and he was competing against the best horses that made it look easy. When I first heard about the bonus, I thought it was good for everybody, buyer or seller, gets everybody on the same page, that there's a lot of enthusiasm with the horse already, and I think that just helps add to it. I think these Run Happies, the public already wants to like them. That's a great thing, and I think that's a little icing on the cake for the whole deal.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Nightcap is in the books here on America's Day at the Races for Belmont Park. As the 8th, it goes to Get Smokin', campaigned and trained by Tom Bush here. And Tom, a horse only in a second start. You decided to stretch him out from the 5.5 to a mile. Talk about that decision.
Well, I mean, he's a big, long, stretchy, scopy kind of horse, so we thought, you know, the Get Stormy side of him said he should go long, even though he's got a lot of sprint family on the female side. But it's probably the right combination. But I mean, he looks like he'd be a nice miler, so we're happy to see him improve today.
Talk a little bit about this race. Obviously, the 1A, just in time for one, going out and setting a blistering pace. Javier Castellano making the right decision, though.
That was very clever of Javier, for sure, but looked like the other horse was just determined to get the lead, so he did the right thing, and he set back and made a comfortable run, so we're happy with the way he performed.
Tom, it feels like just yesterday you were campaigning this horse's sire, Get Stormy, a fan favorite to say the least, and you've had quite a few and have been successful with several. How many do you have in your barn now, and what's it like to train horses that you train the sire of?
I mean, Get Stormy, he's always been a big part of our life for the last 10 years, so we're always happy to have him in the barn. We probably have 3 or 4 now, and we've got some in the pipeline, and the horse is doing well, and we're hoping he's going to get more mares next year, and we can keep it going, but we're real proud of him.
Any similarities other than a lot of them have the chrome that he did as well?
Yeah, a lot of them do, and a lot of them don't. But yeah, this colt is got a lot of chrome on him, and but he's got a nice temperament. He's kind of a sharp horse, but he's level-headed.
All right, Tom. Well, congratulations taking the nightcap here in only a second start.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Always fun to talk to a trainer who trained the sire of a winner here in the last. Greg?
And just a great job realizing that this horse would appreciate the extra ground, too, and taking that shot off just that one sprint.
Yeah, I have a smoke lacking mare, and usually you get sprint, but Get Stormy. You got to love guys that train horses that train the sire, and there you get the prices. Get Smokin' is the son of Get Stormy. I had a smoke lacking mare, Hookah Lady, we were talking about. Congratulations to Mary Beal, Sullivan, that trust. The carryover in the Empire, $245,000. But if you had it 9,100, you had the late pick 5, 8,100. That's some good handicapping. And there it is, Naked Avenger to Get Smokin', Bourbon Mission, that all somehow can come together.
Tough sequence to get to, no question. So, yeah, if you had that, really well done.
Yeah, and the pick 4 was pretty good, too.
8,170 in that late pick 5. Here's what we have coming up this weekend. Belmont Stakes, weekend stakes, I should say, Bertram Bongard on Friday. The Kelso Noble Damsel on Saturday. And then Grade 2 Gallant Bloom features, or headlines, 3 stakes races coming up on Sunday. On Friday in the Bertram F. Bongard for 2-year-olds going 7 furlongs. Compact field. And City Man, Christophe Clement. Got a talented collie, got a talented filly. She got beat today, but we'll see if City Man can get the job done for him on Friday.
Yeah, and in the footing side, he got the best of Cleon Jones, who's going to be in this race as well. Cleon ran well, and he was well touted over a lot of horses, but City Man went off his favorite. He didn't disappoint as advertised. That is a fast time for a 2-year-old to stop the clock at 1:16 and change with Joel Rosario. And you know what? He showed more speed. And here's a horse that was supposed to be on the turf first time out, and boom, they found lightning that he likes the dirt, and now he's going to go for another $150,000 pot.
And 7 shouldn't be an issue.
No, I don't think so. The way he's finished in that last race, and like I said, that's real racehorse time for an older horse too. So I don't think there's any issues there. Cleon Jones is a big type of horse, so he might like it. And Munaki was unbelievably impressive first time out for Jeremiah Engelhardt. So this is a very compact field, but I'll tell you right now, all these New York breds can run.
Meanwhile, in the Noble Damsel, did you like significant form in the Ballston Spa?
No. Don't get me started.
7-1 that day. Got up to win by a neck. And 4-time winner now on the turf for Chad Brown. And that was a big victory for her. She's now won 2 of her last 3 starts.
She was coming out of a 5.5 furlong and 7 furlong race, and it looked like Chad had been reaching back to get into her form. She looks like she's dead, but wow, watch her fight on. Horses everywhere. So she's going to run 5th, 4th. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and win this race. And here's a horse, first time out. Unfortunately, got taken down, had a ton of talent, and has tried the Belmont Oaks Invitational, was 4th there, and boom, she gets her grade 2 win, and she'll be a handful in this field of 5 or 6, excuse me.
Mile Widener Turf coming up on Saturday, purse of $200,000. Meanwhile, in the Kelso, unfortunately, no Catholic Boy. This is the group that will line up that includes Pat on the back. Dylan Davis will be aboard. That 2-race win streak came to an end in the tail of the cat.
Yeah, it did. But in the commentator, wow, what a race this was. Now, a lot of people will say, well, giant expectations got left that day, this and that. But Pat on the back showed a ton of heart to win this race by a nose. Before that, won the Affirmed Success. And when he's in New York company, he's just tough to beat. Beauregard beat him last time in the tail of the cat, but Belmont is his stomping bounce. $345,000 in the bank here at Big Sandy.
That coming up on Saturday, 1-turn mile, purse of $300,000, grade 2 company. That's a gorgeous sunset behind us.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely beautiful out, by the way. A little windy, and I know you're cold, but
I'm okay.
You're gutting it out.
Could have let me borrow the scarf at some point since you had the jacket also, but that's fine. It's too late now. Don't even try. You weren't. That's what friends are for. No history of horse racing can be told without the story of this next farm we're going to tell you about. You've heard of them, Claiborne Farm.
Of course.
Horse racing's 2nd Triple Crown winner was foaled there on the grounds, as was Seabiscuit, who was foaled and raised there. And all 22 Kentucky Derby winners were produced by Claiborne Stallions or their progeny. That is just a small part of the amazing history of Claiborne Farm.
The Claiborne Tour allows racing fans the opportunity to stroll the hallowed ground of one of the most storied farms in racing.
We just wanted to come down and see horse country. My son's a big University of Kentucky fan, so he wanted to see that. So he gets his, I get mine.
Since 1910, Claiborne's breeding shed has produced more than 80 championship racehorses. Guests get the opportunity to walk the iconic shed rows of the Stallion Barns, seeing where some of the sport's all-time greats once lived.
In the equine world, these guys are movie stars.
The biggest thrill for most guests is getting the opportunity to literally touch some of the game's top stallions.
You kind of get in a set routine sometimes, and where we see it every day, and then when you do a tour and you bring someone up, and when you walk out of Orb or you walk out Warfront, Blaine, you know, and you see the people's faces and listen to the chatter, it makes you step back and look at it all over again.
Just the majesty of the farm, the beauty, and it's a farm where you can get up close and personal with the stallions. They're very kind here. The employees are, and they're very welcoming.
You don't see athletes like this strong, this well-built, and just majestic horses. And just to see the vast areas that they have here, and listening to Kyle tell the stories of the horses that have been bred to Warfront, incredible. It's like a who's who.
Oh, just the interaction, getting to see people, how they are around these horses out here, because we get to work with them on a daily basis. Seeing that little girl's face and that little boy's face, how they react to seeing these stallions, it's special all on its own.
Warfront was the last horse we saw. I didn't think we'd see him because you're talking about an $80 million horse.
He is our big horse here. We have nicknamed him the Sire on Fire. Cannot do anything wrong. He's offspring sell great, they race great. He is attracting the top females in the country. He's been made it to the 2010 Horse of the Year, the Filly's Zenyatta twice.
We first saw Run Happy, and that horse is just a brilliant horse. You know, has won so many big races. And then we just walked through the stable there, and we saw all the other horses.
The tour concludes with a chance to see the Claiborne Cemetery, where some of the sport's most treasured thoroughbreds were laid to rest.
It's just incredible. You know, if you're a racing fan, this is the place to be.
Sun setting on another card here as we kick off another week of action. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow, 3 Eastern time on Fox Sports 2. And another interesting card coming up tomorrow. But again, as we kind of briefly previewed there, big weekend ahead. And, you know, I was talking about it with Andy Serling at the beginning of the show before you came on. We're getting really close to the Breeders' Cup, not that far off.
We are. We're getting very close. And the Jockey Club Gold Cup is going to be very interesting with a couple 3-year-olds taking on older horses. We'll see where everybody sits, and can anybody get in the same league as Mackenzie?
Naked Avenger wins our feature in the Joseph A. Jimma. Luis Saez has been on board for both her victories. One first time out on a sloppy racetrack at Saratoga. Wins her stakes debut in the Joseph A. Jimma. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 Eastern on Fox Sports 2.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
We're gonna go traveling.
Eclipse champion Blade was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault, and graded stakes winners Morale, Beyond Blaine, Miss Kentucky, and Blaine. This year, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $700,000. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.